Create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, welcome back, True Seeker. It is Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. One of the headlines today by the numbers, Anchor Brewing out of San Francisco, the longest, most established brewing company in America, shutting down business after 127 years on the date 12/7. And we see this all the time in the world of big corporations operating by a numerical code. Remember, 127 is a special number. You know, it's a number. We always talk about Pearl Harbor Day on the other 12/7 date. Of course, on 9/11, they called it the new Pearl Harbor. Buildings 1, 2, and 7 came down that day. If you write out Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, it has that Gematria 127, as does Bavarian Illuminati. And, of course, the Bavarian Illuminati, renamed the Order of Illuminati, one of their goals was to infiltrate Freemasonry. But with regards to Freemasonry and 127 and beer or alcohol, remember in Gematria, Masonry equals 33, like secrecy, like federal, like order, like alcohol, like prohibition ended in the year 1933. The word sugar also equals 33 for the record. Of course, alcohol is made out of sugar. A lot of children are addicted to sugar. A lot of adults are addicted to alcohol. Both things cause a lot of health problems in a lot of individuals. And as I say, children are addicted to sugar. Those children do grow into adults who are still addicted to sugar. And again, anytime I'm at the supermarket, I'm always blown away by the number of people whose carts are just full of soda, chips, beer, alcohol. And I think the real reason a lot of beer companies are struggling right now is because the new generation, they're into all these little fruity drinks. The fruitier society gets, the more they like the fruity drinks, if you will. But for one more on that Masonic pairing with Anchor Brewing and their ritual today, Anchor Brewing has the gematria of 74, like Masonic. Number we talk about all the time around here. Of course, gematria equals 74, like English, like occult, like energy, like holiday, like Independence Day, and on and on and on. Other thing I want to talk about, tonight, if you guys have any experiences with something that seemed supernatural, maybe it was supernatural, maybe it was a coincidence, you just can't put your finger on it. In the time I've been exposing this information, I've had so many weird things happen, and I never experienced this kind of stuff in my life before, like just things like yesterday. Yesterday I woke up to the fire alarm going off in my house, and the fire alarm that tripped, there was no fire, but the fire alarm that tripped was the one right here in this office where I do my broadcasting from, and the fire alarm's just back here right above the door, right above where I charge my speaker for when I go out and, speak in cities and events. I have the speaker to broadcast the message. And what I thought first thing in the morning is, I'm going out today to Seattle at the All-Star Game to spread some knowledge about all the ritualistic deaths connected to the world of Major League Baseball and sports in general. And I had this I hope this isn't a sign that something's going to go wrong with the speaker today. And lo and behold, I drive all the way out to Seattle. It's over a 3-hour drive each direction. Before I went out there, I tested the speaker to make sure everything was good. And it's funny, I almost brought my megaphone as a backup just in case. And I was like, no, this speaker's been good. I mean, it was perfect in California. It's been perfect everywhere I've gone. It's been perfect when I've gone to Seattle before. So I just had full faith in the device. And, it's funny. I got to the stadium, and there was a man right there in a Houston Astros jersey, and I struck up a conversation. I was blowing his mind. And I said, here, I'm going to put it on the speaker and we'll see how the audience engages with it. He goes, okay, I'm going to be watching that. So then I set up the speaker, turn it on, and I realize, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't hear anything. And then I try the other channel, and nothing there. I'm trying the other channel, nothing there. I'm flipping all the switches just to make sure I'm not doing something wrong. And the thing is just deader than dead. No power, no sound, nothing. And, it's an expensive device. It's been a great device. We haven't had it that long. I mean, the first time I really put it to use was the beginning of April. And anyway, I got home last night and just plugged it in the wall for a few minutes. And, it fired right up and was working as soon as I got back home. But I just thought, how weird, for the fire alarm to go off and right above where the speaker is, and then the speaker doesn't work. But anyway, it didn't make yesterday's situation ideal, being at the All-Star game, to put out the knowledge on the street, some street preaching with the Gematria knowledge and seemingly what's going on in the world. But we made the best of a bad situation. Anytime you go to a major sports event, you always got the Jesus people out there who are carrying their signs like, you're all going to burn in hell. You're all a bunch of sinners. Get right with the Lord because you're going to be burning in hell. They're always out there. They've been out there my whole life, ever since I was a child. And, luckily some of those guys were willing to share their speaker and their mic, and they appreciated my message. And even though I wasn't really on board with their message, I was still able to broadcast a lot, and there was a really ideal time, because when he passed me the bike early, I mean, there were thousands of people just waiting to get in, lined up at the gate, and just a sitting audience that got to hear me go through every World Series from the 118th all the way back to the 111th, and all the rituals with those World Series and all the deaths. And we got to do that on both sides of the stadium at both gate entrances. And there were a lot of people who you could tell were tuned in and listening. And even though I would have liked to have been doing that all day on my own speaker, it still made it worth it, because we planted a lot of seeds and a lot of minds. And of course, it would have been better if my speaker was working. But the other thing we did throughout the day when we didn't have a speaker is we just walked and just engaged with people one-on-one. And if you watched the stream yesterday, I'd say 2 out of 3 people that I just went up to, strangers, and just struck up a conversation, 2 out of 3 were receptive to the information. And the other third that weren't, it wasn't necessarily that they were really opposed to what I was saying. You could just tell they're kind of like antisocial. They just want to look at their phone. They don't want to talk to a stranger. So there wasn't really any backlash for the information I was sharing. Most people really got it. Some people got really excited about it. We're like, whoa, that's cool, that's crazy. And had some really good conversations and some back and forth and some questions and some like, maybe Domingo Herman's uncle's death was his inspiration and it was just all perfectly the way it worked out. And I said, well, anything's possible. But again, the other night on Wednesday, it was, 2 weeks ago, June 28th, we had the perfect game and the perfect ritual with Domingo Herman. And I like to call him German, but that was the only heckler I got, because I like to say Domingo German, just like how it's spelled. But one guy walked by and goes, you don't even know how to say his name right. It's like, well, does that take away anything I'm saying about how perfect the perfect game ritual was on 6/28 when the first 2 perfect numbers are 6 and 28? Anyhow, that said, the one other idea that I always got to come back to is one that I've expressed so many times. Anytime people come to my channel and say that I need to be promoting the message of Jesus, there's just way too many Jesus door-to-door salesmen in the world. It doesn't need any more. And, if you watched yesterday's stream, one of the last things that happened on the live stream was a Christian guy came up and engaged with me, and he's and just like a lot of Christians who come into the chat or leave comments, it's just I just see so many Christians as it's like they're not spiritually divine, they're like spiritually warped. They're like spiritually retarded, actually. They're like spiritual retards. They're like spiritual Special Olympians. And again, what he kept saying over and over is like, why do I need to know any of this, man? All I need to know is that I believe in Jesus and he died for my sins and I'm going to have the eternal afterlife. He explicitly said to me, he's like, because I said, well, listen, do you think Jesus would condone you going into a sports event if what I'm saying is true, that they're ritually sacrificing human beings for whatever sake of this league, for whatever reason they do it? Because I'm just showing him all these examples. And he said, he goes, I don't need to worry about that because I'm right with Jesus, so I'm going to the eternal afterlife. And I asked him, I said, how long have you believed that for? Have you believed that since you were a little kid? And he goes, oh, I see what you're doing. I go, have you believed that since you were a little kid? He said, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I said, see, that's why they do that to us as little kids, because you've had that idea in your head since you were a little kid, and that's all you think that matters. You just need to believe in Jesus, and he died for your sins, and you can do whatever you want. And he was like, yeah, that's pretty much right. Again, you guys, you could never convince me in the rest of my life that Christianity and what it has done to humanity is good. Here's a guy who literally doesn't care about ritual murder, knowledge, who's running the show. All he cares about is his little child idea that if he believes that Jesus died for his sins, he can live in the eternal afterlife. That's just like how when you're a little kid, you know, for the teacher to get you to behave, or maybe even your parents. All right, little Johnny, here's the sticker chart. You get 5 stickers. I'm going to give you a toy. Oh, I'm little Johnny. I'm just going to keep doing what I do to get the toy because that's how I work. I do things that give me the reward that my authority told me I will get if I do this. It's so, religion is so childish. And you know, all those street preachers out there, they're all ragging on every other religion. Yeah, I mean, you're all going to burn in hell. You're all having sex with more than one person. You're watching porn. Only believing in Jesus will get you to the afterlife, not Muhammad, not Buddha. It's just like, God, listen to these people. You know, the Mark Passio, who is a priest from the Satanic Church, something he'll rant about a lot is how so many people are so caught up in certain things. Like, I'm not saying, you know, sitting in front of a screen and jerking off to other people having sex is a good thing. It's definitely not. It's really gross that we know that a lot of society is just, you know, that they don't even have a partner anymore. Their new sex life is just, you know, fantasizing about what's on the screen. They got everybody living in front of screens, living vicariously through screens. Nobody even wants to hang out anymore. Just hang out in virtual reality with your Facebook friends, your Threads friends, your Meta friends, your Twitter friends, whatever. But what Mark Passio always says is, you know, like, those aren't really the things that's not what people should be on the street screaming about. All these street preachers are so focused on everything that has to do with sex. And I mean, that's a big part about what Christianity did, right? It made pretty much everything about sex evil unless it's happening inside a marriage. That's the only way it's acceptable. Everything else about sex and sexuality is evil. And I'm not sure that that's true. That's a belief system. But what Mark Passio always comes back about is these street preachers should be out there teaching about natural law, because honestly, at the end of the day, the guy who's sitting in front of his, or it might even be a girl, the person sitting in front of their computer masturbating to porn, that person's not ultimately doing anything that's hurting someone else. And there are so many behaviors that people are doing that are hurting other people. And that's what I was trying to explain to the Christian guy. I was like, listen, by you going into that stadium and supporting this league, all of you going in there, if this league is ritually murdering people for the ongoing rituals in the league, essentially you're helping support that tradition goes on. And he kept coming back to, I don't need to worry about that. I just enjoy the game. I believe in Jesus, so I'm going to the eternal afterlife. And I'm just like, oh my God, man, this is just unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, really, that Mark Passio's right about that. People should be preaching about the things and the behaviors that people are doing that are causing other real-world suffering for others. And I also just want to say shout out to all the people that were out at the game trying to get out some important message. There was a group of people yesterday who had a nice yellow, 3-leaf pamphlet, and it made it look like it was a baseball thing. It said 2023 All-Star Game Stats Seattle, but what it was about is how much money the city of Seattle spent to get rid of all the homeless people for the All-Star weekend. The city of Seattle spent $20 million taxpayer dollars to, who knows what they did with the homeless, but to get them off the streets for All-Star weekend. And just some other side notes. I had a long walk yesterday to the stadium because parking was $100 to $120 everywhere, like within a mile and a half of the stadium. So I parked. Thank you, Costco, for your parking lot, but Costco's 2.5 miles from the stadium. But on my nice long walk back to Costco at the end of the day yesterday, man, people are picking on Teslas. I couldn't believe how many Tesla vehicles parked on the street had broken windows, and I don't know if people are just thinking like, you got a Tesla so you're rich, so people are breaking into their cars. But the other thing I saw yesterday, for the first time I've heard about it, but I saw a Tesla on fire too, and the police and fire department responding to it, and I thought, wow, that's the first one I seen, a burning Tesla. So if you got a Tesla, be careful. They do catch on fire. I've seen it with my own eyes now. So anyway, those are all the things wishing through my head. I also just got a letter from YouTube about an hour ago that I'm no longer part of the YouTube partner program. It looks, actually, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I can't get any super chats. I don't know. But I think that's what I need to, I don't know. But I just got a letter that says I've been removed from the YouTube partner program. So I don't know. We'll see if we can get any super chats tonight or not. Maybe it hasn't quite taken effect yet, but I thought, oh wow, that happened to me when I went to New York City. So here we are again. I think those are the main things I wanted to talk about. I'll open it up. We'll get to your guys' calls, and I'm sure you guys will have more questions for me so we can talk about other things, but that is what's going through my mind as we start tonight's show. And let's go out to our friend in New York who always has the great observations.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
How you doing?
I really don't got too much tonight. No topic tonight, really. The only thing I wanted to say was the National League won for the first time since 2012, I see.
So yeah, that was easy, right? Just like I had in the notes. It's hilarious. On the All-Star 2023 sign in front of the game, they had to put the coordinates of Seattle on the sign. 47th parallel, 122nd meridian, right on the sign on the stadium. Yesterday, going into the game, the American League led the National League 47-43. Yesterday, the American League lost, staying on 47 wins on the 47th parallel. Mariners equals 43. Seattle equals 44. The American League went from 43 losses to 44. And, of course, the National League won their first game in 11 years on the 11th day of the month. And the final score was 2-3 in the year 23. And the bigger point is the last time Seattle had the All-Star game was right before September 11th, 2001. And here we are in the year of the 119th World Series. 119 is how a lot of the world writes the date, September 11th, and Mariners are the only team in the league with 119 Gematria, and we know how connected Seattle is to New York City in the 9/11 event, from Boeing to Magnuson Klemenkic Associates. The founder of Boeing's a member of Yale Skull and Bones like Bush, and in 1968, Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliners. Bush graduated from Yale Skull and Bones. 911 made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began. And it sucks because these are all things that I wanted to talk about yesterday on the mic, but the groups that were letting me use the mic, I couldn't. By the time I got through the World Series thing, they always wanted the mic back. So, anyway, but yeah.
Okay, there's one more thing. There's one more thing that came to my head. Did you know about the Mel Gibson movie that's out right now? It's not really getting no publicity like that or whatever. It's about the island, about the P word. I don't want to say about child P word. That's what it's about, I think.
It's about what?
That movie, my friend was telling me about that at work the other day. about some Mel Gibson movie about the piece, Child P, what the Child P, kind of like Jeffrey Epstein Island, some shit like that.
Child pedophilia?
It's something about Mel. It's a movie Mel Gibson got. I don't know if it's out now. And my friend was telling me about that. It's not getting no publicity or nothing. And it's about like island for child peace.
Huh. Yeah, I haven't heard about it. I'll have to look it up. Let's see. Mel Gibson calls for an end to child sex trafficking. The future is our children. Sound of Freedom, the new Mel Gibson movie. Sound of Freedom. Okay.
That movie's not really getting no publicity or nothing. And so I wonder why. With all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. So basically, he was making this movie while all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff was going on, right?
I don't know. I haven't heard about it, so I'm gonna have to do the research.
And plus, ain't he getting a divorce or something? I think he's in the news about getting a divorce, but I didn't hear nothing about this movie. So it's the reason why they're not getting no publicity promoting this movie or something.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research on it. I didn't know about it. Mel Gibson, Sound of Freedom.
What's the Gematria of Sound of Freedom?
I'll have to look. Let's see. Let's take a look. Sound of Freedom. I don't even know what it's about. I gotta check it all out. $160, $70, $218, $65. You know, the number that stands out to me most in that one's that old 218. It's the Holy Roman Empire number. Again, they say the Holy Roman Empire folded August 6th, 1806, the 218th day of the year. Yeah, I'll look into it.
All right, that's all I have. I really had too much tonight.
Okay. All right, appreciate the heads up.
Okay.
All right, you have a good night.
You too.
All right, take care. All right, George. George, twice you called me back, and both times I could hear your voice, and I was talking back to you, and you could not hear me, and you hung up. I don't know what's going on, George.
Well, I guess we'll just have to try to text or something. And do you have another number you could use?
My phone works fine, George.
Okay, well, maybe it's my... Well, I'm sorry, Zach. I don't know what to tell you. So I guess we'll have to try it again. But before we get to some stuff we can talk about after the show or over the weekend, is I do have something to present.
Okay.
Okay, well, I know this may sound obscure, and I know one of your critiques about me is I really mention off-the-wall things that really aren't...
I don't mind, George. I don't mind how off the wall you are, because it's usually pretty interesting. So go ahead.
Okay, have you ever seen reruns of the old TV show, The Beverly Hillbillies?
I'm aware of it, but I saw the remake of the movie, or the movie about in the 90s. I don't know if I've ever seen an episode of the show.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, you're not missing anything. You probably can catch it on YouTube or something, I guess. But the original series ran from 1962 to 1971. And so I'm sorry, I have it right here, but I have several windows open. Okay, so the series ran, okay. So why do I bring this up? Well, and it has, now you're talking about the All-Star game yesterday, and you're talking about the hypocrisy of people who call themselves Christians and how they can possibly justify participating in an event that regularly murders people involved with baseball or encourage players or personalities like announcers or so forth. Well, and you talked about how people are sacrificed in the world of music, particularly rap. Well, I realize I'm throwing you a curveball, no pun intended, because you're not really familiar with this TV show. So as I said, the series ran from the 26th of September 1962 to March the 23rd, 1973. So it ran for 9 seasons. When it went off the air, it was the longest running U.S. comedy series in prime time, but that record has been snatched by several other shows. I'm talking about a comedy. So one of the stars of it was Max Baer Jr. He played Jethro Bodine, Maximilian Adelbert Baer Jr., who was born December the 4th, 1937. He's the only cast member who's still alive. Okay, there are a couple of interesting details about Max Jr. He went to Christian Brothers High School in Sacramento, California. He later got his undergrad degree from Santa Clara University in California in business. Now, as I said, he's Max Baer Jr. His father, Max Baer Sr., died in 1959 at the age of 50. Maximilian Adelbert Baer lived from the 11th of February.
Hold on, George. We got interrupted by the commercial. We'll continue the thought right after this break.
If you want something you've never had before, you must do something you've never done before. It's taken me years of tragedy, of losing myself inside, only to realize what I must have always known, that you can be anything you dream. Dream until your dreams come true. Act on your passion, and when your shot comes, take it. Look fear in the face and embrace it. The time is now. The moment is now. Believe in yourself like I believe this to be true. The world needs more of you.
It's amazing how people have been raving about iAlife all over Facebook. They've been posting their testimonials just because they want to get the word out because it's worked so well for them. If you're not familiar with iAlife, it's a 99% pure CBD oil. But the secret is the synergy between the hemp and the ayahuasca vine, the non-psychoactive component of the ayahuasca tea. We recently received an email from a wife whose husband has Parkinson's. For the first time, he's been able to sleep through the entire night. Another customer reported that they're no longer using NSAIDs because their tennis elbow has been relieved with iAlife. The reports have been phenomenal and much more than we ever expected. Everyone should have access to this. That's why if you head on over to iAlife.com right now and use coupon code TFR, we'll give you $5 towards your order. And we'll even ship it worldwide. That's iAlife.com, AYA life.com.
Join me on the Nitty Colombo show. It's time to reclaim our true history, our true timelines, our cosmic heritage. And remember, be humble, for you are made of earth. To be noble, for you are made of
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we're back, and we got George, and he's talking Beverly Hillbillies. And here he is. All right, George.
Hello, Zach.
You're on.
Okay, so we were talking, yes, as you said, we were talking about the Beverly Hillbillies, which, okay, so were you able to look anything up during the break?
What do you want me to look up?
Okay, Max Baer Sr. I mentioned he died in 1959. Okay, I have I have several tabs open. So, I was just making a couple. So we know the son, Max Baer Jr., who played Jethro Bodine, was trained by the Jesuits. He got his undergrad degree from Santa Clara University, and he went to Christian Brothers High School in Sacramento. Now, as I said, his father, Max Sr., lived from the 11th of February, 1909, died on November the 22nd, 1959. So he is 50 years old. So this is just a couple years before the TV series premiered. Now, this is pure speculation on my part, but I think his father was sacrificed for the son to launch his career. Does that sound plausible?
Sounds like what happens all the time. So,
okay, now you said you only vaguely from the series, largely through the movie that came out in the early 1990s with Jim Varney played Uncle Jed. Now, as I said, the series went off in 1971. 2 years later, Irene Ryan, who played Granny, died. She lived from the 17th of October, 1902 to April the 26th, 1973. So that could have been a post-mortem sacrifice for her. Now, of all the characters on the show, the only one who continued really working was Buddy Epson, who later do a private investigator show called Barnaby Jones. So his dad, Max Baer Sr., was sacrificed in 1959, and the grandmother was sacrificed in 1973 for whatever reason. So why am I talking about a show that went off the air in 1971, over half a century ago? Well, this all has to do with the programming, the mind control. We've been conditioned, at least in the United States, since the 1950s, to laugh at things that aren't funny, because that's largely facilitated by the laugh track. And if you think about it, if you don't laugh, you're saying something to yourself, why am I not laughing? Don't I have a good sense of humor? Don't I appreciate, what they're saying? And it's also, basically, well, I don't want to get into a theological discussion here, but in addition to having conditioning people to laugh at things that aren't funny, some people might say they're conditioning to laugh at things that are, say, sinful or destructive. Getting drunk, cheating on your spouse, or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
Okay, so do you have any observations you'd like to share?
The father, something that stands out about him, the first sentence of his Wikipedia points out that he was the heavyweight world champ from June 14th, 1934 to June 13th, 1935. June 13th leaves 201 days left in the year. And of course, the first of those last 201 days is June 14th. We all know 201's big with the Jesuits. And then the son, he died at age 85. That Jesuit motto, "Vi sus hominum salvator," is 85. And
oh, really? Jethro Max Baer Jr. died?
Junior. Excuse me. He didn't die. He's 85 years old right now. I take it back.
Oh.
So.
Okay, so I was just thinking, if he did, it must have just happened.
No, you're right. He's alive. My fault.
Okay, so now if you think about it, so the dad, the father, as you said, had a couple careers. He was a world heavyweight boxer. He was considered to be, I don't want to say Mike Tyson, but he was considered to be one of the best boxers who ever lived. And then after he gave up boxing, he became a film star of sorts. And that was how his son got into Hollywood. Well, his son got into Hollywood by other means. But basically, after the Beverly Hillbillies went up there, that was basically the end of Max Baer Jr.'s acting career. Yes, he did do a few things after that, like the movie Making Country Line, but that was pretty much it.
Okay.
And so why? Okay, so I didn't really answer your question, but shows like Beverly Hillbillies, and there are others like Silver Pyro, USMC, which was a contemporaneous show, it celebrated stupidity. I mean, it made stupidity seem virtuous.
Sure.
And it's just like, you know, they're lovable, likable characters. But Jethro, he had a couple of trademarks. He wore a rope instead of a belt, and he referred to their swimming pool as a cement pond. And by Max Baer Jr. Own admission, he said, you know, we probably, you know, talking about the people involved with the show with Beverly Hillbillies, we probably had enough material for maybe one episode. So the executives at CBS, the infinite wisdom, decided to drag it out for almost a decade. And so now, granted, you're talking, you know, as I said, 50, 60 years ago, and the situation has only got worse since then. What have been some of the popular shows over the years, like Beavis and Butthead, Jersey Shore, repossession shows, and it's Jackass and the various iterations of it?
Sure. I mean, yeah, people love to watch stupid stuff, and I've always made the point about how our society like promotes the opposite of intelligence. I mean, you're made fun of if you're an intelligent person growing up in society. You're a geek, you're a nerd, you know. Being intellectual is a taboo in our society. It's about being, you know, not necessarily being a moron, but just being, I don't know, right in the middle, being mediocre. That's what America promotes, mediocrity. So.
Okay. Well, so I mean, there's probably 100 other topics, other shows, movies I can discuss, or you know, we could discuss. And something I'd like to bring up next time is more baseball sacrifices. No, I'm not talking about bunts.
Sure, yeah, that would be a good call. All right, George, I like how you always find the interesting Jesuit narratives. Every time I look at one, there's some standout numbers. There's another 201 we find tonight, so appreciate it.
Well, take care, Zach.
All right, take care. Okie dokie. Let's go out to California, 951. Hello? 951. You gotta say something. All right. Maybe they got stage fright. Let's go out to 772.
Hey, Zach, come back to me a little bit later. I'm making food right now.
Okie dokie. Let's go out to 810. 810, you're on.
Hey, Zach, how you doing, brother?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, that was interesting about the Beverly Hillbillies. He's right. All that's true. I grew up watching the Beverly Hillbillies, and we used to laugh our butts off. My brother still watches the reruns and still laughs after 50 years of watching that stuff. The Three Stooges, the Little Rascals, the Munsters, the Addams Family, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But I called in because the brother from New York mentioned the Passion of the Christ, or not the Passion of the Christ, the Sound of Freedom, and I was shocked that you didn't know about that movie. So what I know about it, I haven't seen it, but the star of that movie is the guy who played Christ in Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ. And it's a true story about a guy that I don't know the whole story, but what I heard was he hired a prostitute and he thought she was like in her 20s. And, you know, after having sex with her, she told him she was 14 years old. And that freaked him out. And she told him that she had been, you know, trafficked since she was, you know, I can't remember the age, a little girl. And so she had already been doing it for quite some time, at least half her life. And that he started rescuing, you know, kids on the street and stuff. And I don't know all the details, but, you know, I listen to LibertyTreeRadio.org, LibertyTreeRadio.org, LibertyTreeRadio.org. That's a militia call. And Mark Kornke, he's the guy who started the Michigan militia and the militia movement after Ruby Ridge, when they murdered Vicki Weaver and her son. And, you know, her husband was a Green Beret who wanted to get, you know, he became a banker. And then after he saw what was really going on, you know, he had to take his family and escape to the mountaintop, you know, and they murdered him. Well, they tried to murder him and his whole family, but they ended up killing his wife and his son. And then we had Waco and Oklahoma City, and Mark and others, you know, they're veterans, and, you know, they put together a militia movement and said, never again will this happen. Well, he has this talk show and a radio show. They play music, you know, 24 hours. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation where they play music except for when he has his talk show. That's 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Anyway, you can look that up and find it. But he said, when you watch that movie, Sound of Freedom, he said, watch the opening credits, because as they show you the live footage of where they're rescuing these children. And so the Q stuff, you know, some of this Q stuff is in it. And this is a true story. And so when Gibson made this movie, it was made over 5 years ago, and they couldn't get anybody to play it. And they finally got Fox. Fox came up and said, yeah, we'll play that movie. Disney bought Fox to prevent that movie from being shown. They've been pre-selling tickets for months now, and it's been all over the Patriot internet radio and stuff promoting this movie, and they got a bunch of theaters to play it, and, you know, they went around Disney, and Disney's been trying to block this movie for 5 years. And they finally, and they competed. It opened on the 4th of July, and it competed against the Indiana Jones, the new Indiana Jones movie. And then Disney had some vampire, tranny, blood-drinking cartoon that they wanted, you know, this is Disney's, what they're putting out. And so that Passion of the Christ, it's waking up a lot of people, and it's about these pedos. And the media, the mainstream media, they're mocking it. They're trying to get people to stop, you know, not to go see it. And the movie theaters now, they're starting to turn people away and trying to give them refunds on their tickets and trying to get them not to watch it by telling them, oh, the air conditioning just broke in that particular movie. Here's some tickets to go see this Disney movie, right? Or this other stupid movie. And the people are not having it. They're fighting back. So it's really, there's another movie out there called The Great Awakening. It's all about, COVID and just everything that's going on right now, where people are really starting to wake up. And I really feel like these Jesuit, scumbags they're cornered right now, and they are pulling out all the stops because they know their days are numbered. We were in a federal building the other day, and we walk into this building. Zach, I'm blind, right? I got my dark sunglasses on. I'm wearing my protected by the Second Amendment hat, a ball cap.
Okay.
And I got my cane, right? My blind cane. It's usually glows in the dark, right? I'm a hunter, so I love camouflage. I get camouflage duct tape, and I tape up my cane so it's camouflage, right? If I go out in the woods, the deer can't see me glowing in the dark, right? So, but just the very tip, it's red with a white tip, and the tip glows in the dark. Well, most people, they see me walking. I hope, I got my wife's arm, and I'm usually wearing camo and that hat or some type of, Second Amendment something. And people don't recognize me as being blind. I'm not the typical blind guy. Well, we walk into this building, and it's all open. It seems like it's all open air, and it's packed. There's a packed house, and there's windows all around the whole thing. It was like a circle almost. But the agents that work for the feds, they're all in a window all around the outside of this building, on the inside, but the outside walls. And there's a bunch of people in there. And then this big dude, I could tell he was probably about 6'4", 250. He greets us, as we walk in the door. There's no metal detectors or nothing, And he says, we got to sign in over here at this computer. And once we sign in, it'll print out a receipt. And he says, make sure you let it finish, and stop printing before you tear it out so it don't jam. We're like, okay, thanks. We sign in, and there's not really anywhere to sit down. So we're standing there talking, and this guy walks up to us, and he starts bitching about Biden and what a nutbag he is, right? And this is a federal employee working as a security guard, right, in this building. And I'm laughing, and so I make some comments, and then he says, I see your Second Amendment hat, and he says, if they try to take my guns, there's no way they're going to get my guns. I've never given up my guns. I'm going to protect my family. And I said, thank you for saying that, because I believe you and your brothers that are out there working, they're going to do the same thing that you're going to do. You're going to stay home and protect your family and not be in the street fighting, Americans and killing Americans. And he says, that's right. And then he starts talking about the trannies. He says how crazy the world is. These trannies, this tranny stuff, I'm going nuts over it. It's driving me crazy. I stepped in and I said, I asked him his name. He introduced himself, Todd. And I says, Todd, we got to teach the children well. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and all other genders come from Uranus. And he started laughing, and both of us are bellowing our voices, or everybody in that place could hear us. And he's laughing really hard. He says, oh, you're funny. He says, that's really good. And then he says, this conversation's over. You're going to get me fired. We're in a federal building. I can't be talking about this stuff. And he walks away, and my wife and I are talking, and we're waiting, and he comes back, and we're talking. He's giving me more, He just can't stay away. We were in there for 45 minutes, and he talked to us for at least 30 of that 45. Now, people are walking in the front door, and he's going up to them and asking them if they got guns or knives. He didn't ask me that. I got a knife on my belt, right? It's like a a spring assist, little pocket knife, right?
Sure.
And it's got a belt clip. And I got it inside my pocket, clipped on my belt. And you can see the clip. It's metal. And I thought, I got this knife, and I don't want him getting in trouble. So I reach in my pocket, and I slip it out and drop it in my pocket. And but he asked several people that walked in that door if they got guns or knives, And he says, if they try to take my guns, if they get my guns, I'm just going to go to Detroit and get more. Oh, man. But it was so refreshing to hear that guy. He worked at a prison as a prison guard for 15 years. He retired 5 years ago. He's working in this federal building 1 day a week, part-time. He said he had 12 pages of application to fill out. He couldn't believe how abusive and offensive it was, the questions they asked him to get that job. And he said, but the pay is fantastic. He's making a fortune 1 day a week. He's paying off his house. He's remodeling it, But I said, the bottom line is they want you and I at each other's throats in the street fighting and killing each other so they don't have to kill us before we kill them. And he said, you're exactly right. I mean, we were on the same page for almost 45 minutes. And it was very refreshing to hear that. And I know that most of his buddies, he said all of his families in law enforcement or, lawyers or, some type of judicial field, and they're pretty much all awake. And what they're putting out in the mainstream, it's all fear factor, and they want us to think that we're outnumbered. And they know their days are numbered. That's all I got, brother.
Well, I hope that's true. All right, friend. Appreciate the information as always. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Zach.
All right. You have a good night. All right. Let's go out to Nashville. 618.
Hey, Zach. How are you, bud?
Doing all right. Thank you.
Good. I hear a lot of talk tonight about the Sound of Freedom movie and how, the whole, people waking up and whatnot. I just want to let you know that this movie came out on July 4th, which is a 74 or a 47 in backwards, right? So that automatically came to my mind, which is suspect.
Yeah, the word free. The word free is 74, and I know Independence Day is 74. I think if you run it backwards, it's 70. If I'm not mistaken, and the movie title also had that 70. Yeah, so the movie title and Independence Day equate at 70. Yeah, it seems like released by the numbers.
It seems like controlled opposition, create the, it's like the Hegelian dialectic, the same people who are creating these movies and whatnot, they're the same, they're creating the solution, but it's all just smoke and mirrors, so to speak. If you type in Gematriator Sound of Freedom, reverse reduction is 65 or 56 if you flip it, which is also quite interesting. Also, if you actually think about it, Sound of Freedom, it sounds like freedom, but it's just bullshit. What do you think about that?
Yeah, just the sound of it. Sounds like it, isn't it?
It sounds like it. Right? It seems like it's just controlled opposition.
Now, hold on. Another thing is a part of this storyline is a CIA agent, right?
Exactly. That. I mean,
well,
it sounds
just
like
with
freedom,
regards,
and then a CIA agent's involved.
Well, again, just the CIA, right? The CIA was established in 47. Of course, you can write the date 47 as well. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just like Mel Gibson. He'll do movies that are more truthful, more important content, but they kind of put it out there. The reason I think they do this is because Mel Gibson's this demonized person. A lot of people don't like Mel Gibson. Oh, he's a bigot. He's an anti-Semite. Oh, if he's about that, then that must all be bad. So, again, I think that's part of the game they play. They'll allow some truth out there, but they'll have it go through a person that is a polarizing person that already a lot of people don't like. It just plays into the whole divisiveness of society and the way how people's minds are already shaped, and then they turn off the dial to certain information. So anyhow, that's what I see.
Yeah, I see the same thing. I just see, some people are slightly waking up, or, they need to vent. And so you sort of have to comply to the masses a little bit and give them some disclosure, so to speak. But I mean, I guess it's still publicity, and people, maybe they'll wake up a little bit. But regardless, I also wanted to state that I saw this article the other day where this 12-year-old girl created a project, a history project, and she found out that 42 out of the 43 U.S. presidents were all related to a England king called St. John of Lackey, who wrote the Magna Carta, who signed the Magna Carta I believe in the 1200s. I think the only president who was not related to the 42 presidents is Van Buren. And apparently this is true.
Hold on. We got a commercial break. We'll be right back with that. Sit tight.
When you have a great melody, song lasts
Forever. Instantly connected.
I love it when the beat goes.
Did you know you can listen to Truth Frequency Radio on iHeartRadio? Just download the app to your smartphone, or smart TV, and get the best of TFR wherever you are.
iHeartRadio.
I'll see you there.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
Let me handle it. Don't say that, you stupid son of a bitch. Let me handle it. I was gonna show them how good I am. Let me handle it. Let me handle it. This is easy. Let me handle it. And I made the mistake. Why would you give up a primetime show? My life was so simple. And then I did it, and look what happened. Now we gotta make it great again. Our country's embarrassed. The whole world is laughing at us. But is there any place better to be than a Trump rally? Crooked Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. How would you like to have her as your wife? What kind of a sick, perverted mind does that? Bill Clinton, he's living in fear. Other than that, how are things going? Global pandemic in the middle of the pandemic. Where's your mask? Where's your mask? You have to remember, where's your mask? Where's your mask? Where's your mask? Where's your mask? You have to remember that you're not supposed to get set up. Let me handle it. Don't say that, you stupid son of a bitch. Let me handle it. I was gonna show them how good I am. Let me handle it. Let me handle it. This is easy. Let me handle it. And I made the mistake. The person who's very low key, depressed is not Tree Verily. She's really tough and she's really, really smart. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is real. The Green New Deal surprise, it serves China and China only. You know, really what all this is going to do is help this man out the most. President Xi of China is sad. Really, 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 really sad. China is sad. Really, 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 really sad.
Let me handle it. Don't say that, you stupid son of a bitch. Let me handle it. I was gonna show them how good I am. Let me handle it. Let me handle it. This is easy. Let me handle it. And I made the mistake.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, our caller got interrupted by the commercial there. Let's get back out to him. He was in the middle of an interesting thought. Nashville, you're back on.
Hey, Zach. So regarding the Sound of Freedom, one more point before we move on. So John Podesta runs Amber Alert, by the way, and the Clinton Foundation runs the National Hotline for Human Trafficking and Missing Exploited Children. So I pretty much believe that, you know, this whole movie and whatnot is just another, you know, sort of trap that leads you to the same bullshit. What do you think?
Yeah, that's probably true. And you brought up conspiracy theory. I just want to remind people about the release of Conspiracy Theory, movie starring Mel Gibson in the 90s. It released on August 8th, 8/8/97. And Mel Gibson's born January 3rd in the year 56. But notice, from Mel Gibson's birthday to the release of that film was 218 days. We were talking about how Sound of Freedom equals 218, like Holy Roman Empire, but Conspiracy Theory also equals 218, the name of that movie. And if you use numerology, Conspiracy Theory equals 88, like the 88 release. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it just sounds like one of those loops where it takes you back to the problem, you know, just protect the elite, protect the government, give people some sort of relief, like, you know, oh, the government's trying to fight pedophilia. But in reality, you know, the Clinton Foundation's been funding these programs. They're controlling, you know, Amber Alerts and all that nonsense. So, like I said, conspiracy theory equals 218, or like you said, and it's just another, you know, walk around to the same. It's just something to protect the elite and give the masses a way to vent and feel like, you know, the government's really trying to, you know, stop this from happening. You know, we really give a fuck, but in reality, they don't give a shit. And the people are so dumbed down and docile that, you know, all they really need is a movie and, oh, you know, and they think, you know, things are being resolved, but in reality, nothing's really fixed.
Sure.
So I'm more in that ballpark instead of thinking that, oh, people are waking up and, you know, until there's like a revolution and people are rioting and actually, you know, protesting on the streets like you do all the time over this shit. Well, then it's just a waste of time, you know? What's a documentary going to do, you know? This type of stuff, you know, people should be rioting, you know, millions, if not hundreds of thousands of people should be, you know, walking to the White House and protesting this stuff. But, you know, people are just so caught up in their narcissistic lifestyles that all they really need is a movie of an hour and a half, and they feel like something's really being done. Regarding the, there's a correlation between relatives and the King of John of England. 42 out of 43 presidents are related to the King John of England. So I thought that was interesting. Sounds like another Jesuit Masonic bloodline type of conspiracy that's probably true. I'm not sure how true it is, but we all know that there's some sort of cult in our government, and they're controlling everything. One last thing. There's this you're always exposing, you know, the news for what it is, which is complete controlled opposition and whatnot, and how, you know, media is just full of lies. There's this really nice video, if you could share with your audience for like 2 minutes. It exposes the Titanic submarine story that came out a few weeks ago, and how the, you know, the news media outlets are just filled with propaganda. If you want to share that with your audience for 2 minutes and so they can watch, it's pretty self-explanatory and quite scary to watch. You've probably seen it before, but if you can type on YouTube, and then I'll just let you go. If you could please go on YouTube and type in Titan distraction with an exclamation mark at the end and click the first video and watch the first 2.5 minutes. And I'm pretty sure your audience will be mind blown by how fake and, you know, how much propaganda there really is in the media. It exposes that and the hoax story about the submarine and the billionaires inside the sub. If you want to do that, it's Titan distraction with an exclamation mark at the end. And I'll let you go because, you know, I'm sure there are other callers. But if you could share that those first 2 minutes with your audience, I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll let you go. Thanks so much. God bless you.
All right, appreciate it, friend. Thank you.
All right, brother. Be safe.
Right. Yeah, you have a good night. You know, and just what he was talking about, you know, one of the nice engagements I had yesterday, being out at the All-Star game, talking to the people, is there was a nice young lady. She was working for one of the news stations, and she stayed and listened to us for a long time and asked follow-up questions and was intrigued. And I said to her a few times, I said, hey, we're here, you know, I mean, you want to do the interview for the news? We're ready to go. And she said, eventually she said, yeah, you know, I'd like to, but I can't. That's not my assignment. My assignment is to document, you know, fans and festivities of the game. And again, I mean, that's what it is for all these people who work for these news stations. They get an assignment, and they go out and do the assignment to plan the presented story. It's like, that's not, I mean, news should be like, wow, this is happening. Wow, that's new information. That's new information that could really benefit our audience. That's not happening. All these news people are being given assignments to continue to give the regularly scheduled programming the way the controllers want the programming out there. And that's what, it's amazing that people don't catch on with how we're not getting the information we need. We're getting the information that the ruling class wants us to have. So I'll have to check out this Titan distraction. We already knew it was, but I'm sure that video's got some gems in it. Let's go out to our friend in Colorado. What's going on, 720?
Hey, Zach, what's going on?
You know, another day in paradise.
Well, how are you doing, and how's your family, man?
As you come on, I forgot to put my oil on my face tonight. It's feeling a little dry, so that wasn't good. You gave some nice health tips last time you were on, and that was one of them. But yeah, what's going on with you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, man, I haven't followed you in a while. Because like I said, I take a tree from that knowledge of good and evil, brother. And, you know, even as I'm, like, you know, listening in all your pre-callers, you know, Beverly Hillbillies. Of course, I think that controlled narrative, you know, the child trafficking, brother, that's been going on for 30, 40 years. 800,000 kids disappear a year. I mean, it is bad. You know, of course, there's adrenochrome people shoot the child's blood on the side of their eye. It's like, you know, the eyes busted. I mean, that's just terrible. But it is true. You go watch an hour-and-a-half movie, but in reality, everyone should have came forth. Because it was out your kid disappearing. You know, everyone, you know, felt that pain. Everyone would be like going front, like, this crap's got to stop. That's just terrible. But, you know, that's why I look at this stuff. It's like, man, I just think I got to walk with Yah, you know, learn his principles. But every time I look at that tree of knowledge, good and evil that you exposed, but I was like, man, it is death, you know. That's like, brother, I don't know how you do it, to be honest. It's like, by the time I checked you out, I was like, well, you know, like I said, maybe that's your calling, expose the hell out of this crap, and maybe you'll be that one that's, you know, shaking the tree or sounding the alarm or watching on the wall. And, you know, basically you do things very creative, you're very intuitive, you're exposing everything about it.
But like I said, Zach, take time, to me, I try to keep a Shabbat, spend time with my family, follow some principles, the Lord, because you want to live life on this earth too. Because, with that subplot, it's doing what it's supposed to do, brother. It's all death. It's all going to engulf itself. But, what I learned, though, you have to participate in it to make it work, right? So that's why time and time again, we're in these government-based systems, but, every once in a while I try to do the Torah, the best of my ability, and, have a new direction in life. Because, brother, all that stuff, that's not it. And like I said, even you expose this, you expose that, right? And all your callers. But at the end of the day, did that bring you any life or any peace? You know what I mean? That's what I mean, because it's all a death message. But, like I said, it's interesting, as I say, every time I call you. But it's like, well, Zach, how you doing? How's your family? You have a peace of mind? You know what I mean? I think that's the most important things in life, you know what I mean? And just really focus and concentrate on that. And that would give you more peace, But I guess, like I said, this is your calling, brother. You keep going out of it. You must be anointed to do it, that's for sure. But, like I said, just keep doing what you're doing. And you feel that's God's calling on your life for now or this season or seasons. Hopefully maybe it'll come to an end and you'll maybe have another shift in your life. You know what I mean? You also got to think about that too. You know what I mean? If some people say, okay, this assignment might be done, maybe someone else could pick up the torch. Or if you feel you got to keep carrying that torch and shine the light in many ways, you got to keep doing it as well. So but I'd say, I was going to give you, a message of hope. Follow some principles. I guess you said you put the oil on you. Yeah, that's, it changes your status, water, oil. Certain people have different frequencies. Remember another thing on the Torah, it says wear 100% cotton, wool, and linen. It'll give you positive thoughts, not negative. Is don't wear hybrid material. That's another thing. That's another key and principle of the Torah. And, so many other things, like when the feast days come up, I get to the feast days coming around September, like you exposed Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Feast of Tabernacles, but the difference, that subplot's using it in a death message. I'm actually showing up to Yom Kippur, reading the Book of Life, going to the Feast of Tabernacles, and being with a community and with a family. And it's all peace, it's all the presence of God. And that's why I see a lot of callers, it's like, well, did you ever do a Shabbat? You spend time with your family? Did you light some candles, eat some challah, enjoy some Kiddush wine, invite some strangers or family, tell them about the message of God? And I think, other things, you say a lot of people about, so I believe in Jesus. Well, in Hebrew, we want to see your lifestyle. That's what does the talking for you. And Yeshua should come out of you. That does all the talking you need to do. And that's why a lot of Christians, well, I'm waiting for Jesus to come back. Well, the only Jesus you're going to see, and his name is Yeshua, he's in you. He's not coming back in the clouds or in the sky. That's Greek. That's Rome. That's Egyptian. That's fantasy land. And of course, they think they're going to get raptured. You ain't going nowhere. God created you to be on earth, take dominion on earth, not over people, but to rule and reign on earth. And that's what a lot of Christianity is. Good to learn some Hebrew because you get misinterpretations of the languages. And it's really sad. There's an innocence there, but there is a character defect there, too. Because they should study some Hebrew, learn how the language is different, learn how English has totally distorted it in so many ways. And basically, that's why they get a lot of incorrect interpretations. Because when Jesus says the kingdom of heaven and kingdom of God, okay, you're talking about the Torah, right? Because that's what Jesus followed. That's what he walked out. But I think a kingdom is jumping in the sky, getting out of here. I'm going to reign with Jesus, and everyone's going to burn in hell on earth. That's all fantasy. As a Hebrew concept, that's totally illusion. That's la la land. So that's why a lot of Christians, it's really hard to listen to them. You just tell them, how's your family? You paying your bills? How's your business going? How's your children going? That's what we care about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone listened to the live stream yesterday, I got the Christian I asked him the question. I said, what do you think? What was funny is he didn't even know what the golden rule was. I couldn't believe it. I thought, wait a minute, you don't know what the golden rule is? I had to explain to him what the golden rule was. He's like, okay, so treating other people the way you want to be treated. So I said, so what do you think is really ultimately the more important thing? To apply the golden rule or to believe that Jesus died for your sins so you can go to heaven? And he said, oh yeah, to believe that Jesus died for my sins so I can live the eternal life, because then I can live the eternal life. And I was trying to get him to see that, the positive behavior is good for the world. You want the selfish thing. You want eternal life. So really your whole belief is what you want something for yourself rather than doing the right thing for other people. That's why this Christianity, that you guys, this is why I left Christianity when I was 12 years old, because I saw that Christians overwhelmingly were not good people. They have this warped mindset that it's all about this belief for this little reward, or it's a big reward if it's true. I mean, eternal life in paradise. But again, it's not realistic. It's fantasy land. It's childish. It's selfish. And again, I'll make the point. Jesus, cross, Lucifer, Messiah, gospel, parables, they all have the same gematria, which is 74, special number to this nation. And funny enough, between the word good and the word bad, only one has a gematria 74, and it's the word bad. And most Christians are bad. And their belief system, if you ask me, is putrid and definitely bad. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Zach, like a lot of time when I talk to Christians, just know the basics. Like Yeshua wasn't a Christian; he was a Hebrew. This is giving a very basic concept.
Sure,
like
he's from
Judea.
Judea.
What's the first command? The Shema. Yeah, the first command is the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God, the Lord is one. Then love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Then love your neighbor as you love yourself. But I think key, a lot of people don't love themselves. So that's why they're always in hatred or pissed off all the time or shooting their arrow words at you, It's like, well, I think you would spend time more yourself and start loving yourself, man. But that's the best thing and best reward that you have on earth. You got to look in the mirror and say, I love me. I'm a created image of God. And I'm going to go out there and take dominion over this earth and be the best I can be in God. So if people have that attitude, Yeshua will come out of you. Of course, he's, the king, the Messiah, but what I tell people is Christianity, you're supposed to be walking in the office of the Messiah. You're not the Messiah. That's why the Messiah, the Mashiach is in you. And that's the whole, people that they deal with identity crisis. But in Hebrew, it's like if you just follow certain wisdom keys or hukmah, get some principles in your life, like put on the right material. And everything's in the Torah. It's a laid out instruction book. It is a book of laws. And that's why Christianity, well, we're under the law. Jesus did away with the law. Really? He's the one who wrote it. He never did away with any of it. He's the one who walked it out completely. So I tell a Christian, well, what do you think you should be doing? What do you think you should be walking out? You should be doing the Eis Chaim, it's real life, and the best of your ability. And I said, well, what if I sin? Well, you're in a dysfunctional world, so forget that. God's not counting your sin or outside of the Torah. That doesn't even count the east or the west. All he cares about is you feed the widows and orphans. Did you go to Shabbat? Did you treat your wife better than yourself? Did you honor your mother and father? Every key is a principle. And that's why, like I said, when I look at you exposing that subplot or the tree of knowledge of all good and evil, Zach, that whole realm that's what it's supposed to do, bring a death message. There's really no life in it. That's why, time to time I come back to you, like, man, you must be really anointed to keep doing this, man, because when I look at it, okay, what's that tree doing? Okay, yeah, that's about right. They're trying to plan more wars. They're deceptive. They're murderers. They're liars, right? And no matter whatever caller comes in, all these rabbit trails, yeah, you could be exposed there. It could be very, very true. But at the end of the day, what does that do for you, your family or your finances or anything? You know what I mean? Basically, that's why you have to have a different path.
Well, to answer that question, I mean, the thing is, it fights for their future, because if things aren't resolved and the problems that we speak against each day, the world continues to get worse, which diminishes their quality of life. So I guess that's the answer to the question.
Yeah, Zach, and you're right, because, right now you're under the Red Dragon and Beast system. Those are just evil governments. In Torah, we know that. And the last supreme kingdom, which Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God, will break forth on the last 1,000 years. That's why you got one more Shemitah left, 2023 to 2030, another 7 years coming. So they're going to this global agenda full out, lawlessness, godlessness, digital cash, really digital trash, and then basically everything too. They want to do it gold, silver, everything. So that's one kingdom, or the beast kingdom. The other kingdom is going to be silver, gold. You got the Abraham Accords over in Israel already. They also have one piece of the land. Israel is only 1/3 of the land. There's going to be 3 major wars. So that Eis Chaim will be Israel, Iraq, not Iran, the waters of Egypt, a little bit of northern Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, a little bit of northern Saudi Arabia. That will be the final empire, the final piece of land on this earth that will rule and reign for 1,000 years. Anything outside of that radius will be in the dragon system, subplot system. And I do believe they're going to have a global citizenship to say what part of the earth where you want to go, or they're going to decide for you. And basically, that's why there's two stories, you know, you're going to roll out, a subplot and a main plot. So that's the whole key. And that's why you're exposing all of it, a subplot, but it will come to pass. I mean, unfortunately, if it's written and it's written down, it is going to come to pass. So all I tell people is the only, you know, if I'm going to roll the dice, to each his own, I'm going to walk at the Torah, hopefully get to a piece of land where Adam and Eve were supposedly in the beginning before the beginning began. And then if you look, God will always go back to Genesis 1:1, where it was a perfect paradise. How long that will take, Zach? I don't know. They're saying another 7 years. It could be another 10. It could be another 30. But I know the oven is on hot as we see these triggered events intensifying season by season, right? So that's all I can really see. But when I look at this other tree, yeah, that realm of death, and they have fake aliens and all this other crap, they're ready to go, and you're exposing all of it. But it's like, I don't think that's the community I want to be in the future and fight for and be entrapped in. But I get you. It's like, well, Rick, what the hell else we do? What Jesus said, you pick up a sword, you're going to die by the sword. You're going to go in famine. 10 days, they're going to put you in captivity, cut your head off. None of these destinies sound too great. Or, I guess, yeah, you can fight it out, and hopefully, who knows, if you have your, you know, AK-47, go under the underground, whatever, you know, there's a sword, right? Honestly, I don't know what that's going to look like either. But, yeah, all those destinies look very, very dark, brother. So that's why I just follow the kingdom principles, and if somehow you do the principles of God, that's where Christians don't get it. Obedience brings blessing. It's not what you make up. Either I'm going to the Sabbath or I'm not. Either I'm tithing or I'm not. Either I honor my wife or I'm not. You know, there's no in between. And if I got a heartfelt doing all that, every principle, God rewards that and blesses that. And through this whole government crap and system that we're in the nations for now, yeah, that's the way I maneuver through it. I think the way you're maneuvering is exposing the hell out of it, and you're trying to look for people that's like sounding alarm, like, look, I feel your heart, man. Like, this crap's got to stop. We don't want to live in this. And you're right. No one should. So, well, Zach, I would just say keep doing what you're doing, brother. And obviously you are. I haven't checked you out in a few weeks. But, you know, may God be with you and his hand always be upon you, brother. And, you know, lift you up high and be your protection. And, you know, just honor him as he honors you, and you'll keep going forth. Because if you've gotten this far, wherever you're going, he's going to take you the rest of the way. And, you know, that's the key. When God will bless you, he'll bring right people in your life. But also watch the realm of death. They'll also bring people in your life to try to destroy you. And I think you discern the difference. So, but be blessed, Zach, and keep going and do what you do, brother.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. You have a good night. I got to be honest. He talked about transitioning to something else in life. You know, I mean, what is it? In 9 days, I will be 40 years old, and I will have pretty much spent my entire 30s doing this work. I wasn't even a month into being 30 years old when I found Gematria, and since I learned about it, I've just been trying to understand it more and share it and teach more about it, and spent a decade with it now, and I'll continue to learn more about it and teach it for the rest of my life, but I do feel like I missed out on a lot of things by pretty much just dedicating all my time to this in my 30s. And yeah, so I might try to make a point to be more balanced in life as I turn 40 here. But yeah, let's go out to the next caller. 559, you're on.
Zach, how's it going?
Going all right, how are you?
Good. I just wanted to share a couple of things with you first and then ask you a question. First, I wanted you to look into something called, on YouTube, John Hutchinson's Ark of the Covenant build. And he's an engineer, I think, from Harvard, and he recreated the Ark of the Covenant using the biblical schematics, and it basically generates electricity, and you see it in the video.
Well, what's his name again?
And John Hutchinson.
John Hutchinson, okay.
Hutchison.
Okay. Thought so. I grew up with the Hutchinson. Okay, I see it. 2004 TV movie. Here we go.
Yeah, there's a shorter version. I don't know if you saw. There's an hour-long version and a 5-minute version. The 5-minute version shows it where they turn it on.
Okay.
But another thing I wanted to share with you is a dude named Timothy Hogan. And I think you'll find him very interesting because Timothy Hogan is the Grand Master of the Knights Templar, and he has a very small YouTube channel with 1,000 subscribers. And he has some pretty interesting content on there. He also seems pretty open to taking interviews, so you might be able to get him on the show and ask him some interesting questions and get some interesting answers, I think, from a Grand Master.
Yeah, it looks like he has the book, The 32 Secret Paths of Solomon.
Yeah, that might be him. He talks about a lot of things.
Okay.
But the thing I wanted to ask you is because you're always talking about Christians and how false their worldview is. And
hold on. Save that thought because we got a commercial interruption. But yeah, let's talk about that right after the break. Sit tight, everybody.
Gang with the same type game, the type of girl giving out the fake cell phone name. Big fan. She like
I learned very young from my parents, absolutely, that you don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. There will not be one brick on the face of the earth that's going to be laid better than this brick that I'm going to lay in this next 10 minutes. Yeah. And you do that every single day. And soon you have a wall. And I think psychologically, the advantage that gives me over a lot of people that I have been in competition with in different situations is it's difficult to take the first step when you look how big the task is. The task is never huge to me. It's always one brick.
Me too. The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon, my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. My name is Brooks Agnew, and I am your host on X Squared Radio every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. This is where the past meets the future. We explore the mysteries of the universe and of the Earth. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We will dissolve the propaganda of dangerous people with dangerous plans for the planet. We will discuss the latest technologies and challenges for humankind. We will discover the safest place for you to stand when the thinkings and doings of mankind come flying apart, and how you can be one of the people that helps put it back together. Join us.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. A lot of good people in the chat tonight. RPM Trey Vietnam just joined. You guys make sure you're subscribed to RPM Trey, TRE Vietnam. Doing great work and definitely needs more support, just like most people in the truth community. Let's go out to, and while you're at it, shout out to Cuts One as well. Also deserves a lot bigger audience. Always very interesting information. Cuts One with a K, all one word. Kutsone. All right, let's go back to the caller who got interrupted. 559, you're on.
Yeah, before I ask my question, I thought, remembered something. That dude who was talking about the presidents being related earlier, it's actually pretty well known that they're all related, and not only are the presidents related to each other, they're also related to a lot of famous actors as well.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Hanks, probably the most well-known one.
Well, when Obama became president, the mainstream media, a few of the networks did articles on how many of the presidents were related to royal bloodlines, even including Obama, and actors. And that was new information for me at the time. It was like 2008 they put that out. I was like, wow, look at that. I mean, talk about a rigged system. You're making a point about the Christians before we went to break.
Yeah, I think it's easy to harp on the Christians, but the Christians, I think, at least get it, are more easy to get it. I think that the real people who have hardened egos are the atheists.
So, like, what Christians get it? So, what Christians get it?
Well, I mean, there are some Christians who will acknowledge that the Jesuits are a threat. And
well, a lot of Christians understand the Catholic Church is
bad.
bad. Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of Christians do get. The Catholic Church is up to no good.
And I think that's a great start. It's better than most people. And that last caller you had, I think also.
Hold on. So, but again, so many Christians, they just boils down to all they need to do is believe in Jesus, and they can just do whatever they want. I mean, that's 90% of Christianity.
Right, but like the last caller who actually understood that it was a way of life and not just putting faith in the sacrifice of a perfect human being to resolve all your problems. Those Christians get it. I will admit, I will say it's a very small minority, but there are some who get it. And like I said, I think that they're more likely to get it than atheists. So I just wanted to ask what your opinion on atheists were. Do you think that they're harder, or their egos are harder or softer than Christians?
Probably. It's a religion as well, atheism. Atheists will get annoyed about that. They'll say, no, it's not, but it is. Your belief system is there is no God without any proof. And I wouldn't give one more credit than the other. I'd say they're both entrenched in their beliefs, by and large. So. But to be perfectly honest, I find Christians' mindset to be more problematic. I would never find an atheist who would say anything as illogical as it's more important for me to believe in Jesus than to actually be a good person, because all I have to do is believe to get the eternal afterlife. I mean, it's really a psychotic, just self-absorbed, egotistical thought. And again, I mean, you listen to these Christians I was talking to yesterday, then he gets into how his religion's superior and all these other religions are bad and they're bad people because they don't believe in Jesus. And I mean, you just listen to these people with a brain and you just think, God, they just sound like complete psychopaths. Sound like a plague. Sound like a mind virus. Sound like what's wrong with the world. I think really the biggest group that's the biggest problem with the entire world, I really do think it's Christians. Yeah, they do get that the Catholic Church is bad, and that's, I mean, all things good and bad, but I really do think Christians are easily the worst religion, and again, the biggest problem in any group of any people in the world. So I'll stand by those remarks. I've said it many times before. I do not look favorably on most Christians. They're very bad people, and just listening to the one guy yesterday, I just wanted to vomit, so...
Right. Well, that's all I wanted to ask. That's your opinion on atheists. Let's get the next caller now.
All right.
Nice night, Jeff.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it. So, let's go out to 803. What's going on, 803?
don't care about you. That's okay. They care about you. They have a
803, what's going on? All right, we're going to the next caller. Let's go out to 260. What's up, 260?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Zach?
Doing all right. How are you?
Hello. Excellent, man. I wanted to touch on a few bases. You was talking about the gesture order, and it was I remember you saying something about Cam Newton about to blow up, and if you watch this football season or whatever. If you notice, I had pulled up some superstar relations, and it was crazy that Cam Newton was related to Quavo of the Amigos, and that was pretty ironic to me. And another part too was like, if you look at the movie Above the Rim, and if you watch this, it's this thing called Ghetto Boys Reloaded, and they had Allen Iverson on there talking. It basically Above the Rim was Allen Iverson's life story. If you really, so, you know, I just wanted to touch those bases, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or nothing like that. I just sit back and watch history unfold. But pretty much, you know, if you look at Cam Newton and Quavo, that's a very deep connection. Also, the connection between, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry. But just as well as like, if you look at, it was an issue with, Cam Newton and Quavo and pretty much Allen Iverson and the connection with the movie called Above the Rim with the star Tupac. You know, a lot of movies are very detailed to somebody's true facts or true basic story. Even Alan Baldwin's assistant on that shooting that just recently happened, the assistant of Alan Baldwin, he was actually he was also on the same set as The Crow when Brandon Lee got murdered. Also.
Really?
And
really?
Yes, sir. Yeah, pull it up. Yeah, it's I forgot his name, but because it just made too much sense for me to say that, you know, somebody got shot on the set, and only two people that got shot on the set was Brandon Lee and Bruce Lee. You know what I'm saying? And so when this popped up, I was like, well, damn, let me just see if it just makes sense. Let me just check this out. And next thing you know, I said, man, the same director and assistant to Alec Baldwin was on The Crow. He was on The Crow set.
I didn't know that this whole time.
Yeah.
What a joke.
It's crazy, man. I just forgot his name or whatever, but you know, it's just a lot of connections. Like even with Kobe Bryant, okay, let's say George Floyd, Vanessa Bryant, Dr. Sebi, and Nipsey Hussle. All of them is a direct streamline to where you have an agenda. You know what I'm saying? Like Steve Jackson, right? That's supposed to be George Floyd's cousin, right? So when he got on the ABC and NBC and CBS saying, this is my cousin, we're twins, it's not ironic how he got killed in the Twin City, you know, not too long after Prince then got killed in the Twin City. And then, you know, you get on here and you say this is your twin. But if you really do the research of George Floyd, the same cop that had his knee on George Floyd's neck, they both were club bodyguards at the same
I knew
club.
that. Yeah, we covered that one.
And the lady that owned the club, she was a master counterfeiter. And so that whole thing was set up, but the lady happened to be Vanessa Bryant seniority sister.
Okay.
And so that's how it added up to me on like, okay, how I go from George Floyd to Kobe Bryant. You know, when Kanye West said, you know, fentanyl had something to do with George Floyd, even though that's kind of propaganda, but that was the agenda, the narrative that they used to kill George Floyd. Well, he's high on drugs or fentanyl. and then Kobe Bryant goes off and sues Big Pharma. A week later, he dies. Because I think he was trying to do a deal with. I think he was trying to launder his NBA money through Nipsey Hussle to get medicine from Dr. Sebi and start his own sports and medicine line. Because if you remember the year when he got the 2 MVPs taken from him, I mean, a lot of people felt like Steve Nash did not deserve those 2 MVPs. Even though they came out the same draft litter, in 1996.
Okay.
And so he felt like, well, damn, I need to change sports and medicine because this shit ain't healing me. You know what I'm saying? And after he got some of Dr. Sebi's medicine, then that's when he won that championship, against the Boston Celtics. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to touch bases on certain things that you talk about as far as the Jesuit order and stuff like that. And I listen very religiously. But at the end of the day, I just look at it like, damn, all this connects, you know what I'm saying? Because, I just like to watch history unfold. You know what I mean?
Indeed. Yeah, great information, great call. And you blew my mind with the Alec Baldwin, Brandon Lee, even further connection. Again, to remind people, Brandon Lee was buried on Alec Baldwin's 35th birthday. And again, the character he played in The Crow was Eric, which equals 35, like Bruce Lee equals 35. And again, Bruce Lee died while filming Game of Death. And in the movie Game of Death, he plays an actor, Billy Lowe, who's a martial artist in Hollywood. And he gets shot. Well, he gets shot on the scene of filming a Hollywood movie. I mean, all of this stuff is just such a big, sick joke. And again, I always say, even though we've uncovered a lot, there's always more. And here we are, more than a year later, and another just big whopper that's been out there.
I have to tell you this one last one. Last night, actually, I was watching a movie on Netflix. It was called The Birth of the Dragon. It's the story between Bruce Lee and the fight with Walkman Jack or something. He was from Shaolin Temple. But he ended up leaving Shaolin Temple to come to San Francisco because he felt regret on fighting for competition. And when he came to San Francisco, him and Bruce Lee had met, and Bruce Lee wanted to fight him. But what ended up happening was Walkman Jack, he resisted a lot. But he ended up fighting Bruce Lee because the triads were human trafficking. And it was a specific lady that they brought up on that movie. She played a good character, but they had fought in a disclosed area where only 12 people were watching. And pretty much they say they had to agree that Bruce Lee had won. But Bruce Lee said, well, I will agree only on one condition: if you free all the girls from under this lady that was running the triads. And that really, really made a lot of sense to me, you know what I'm saying, about how, he was poisoned and how he, pretty much, if you look at the Game of Death, he basically was going against the triads, you know what I'm saying? And, it's just really, really touching, you know what I'm saying? But if you look at Kobe Bryant, you know what I mean? It's really the same instance, you know what I mean? They call him Black Mamba. His best friend was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you know what I'm saying? And, he played in the Game of Death, And so it's just all a connection, you know what I'm saying? But, I'm going to call back more, man. I don't want to hold up too many calls and nothing like that, you know what I mean? I love talking to you, man, because you got, you touch on a lot of strong points, but, I'm 43 years old, man. So there's a lot of things I haven't seen unfold and a lot of connections that I've seen that connected to it. And I do my research too. But I love to connect another piece of steel with you on another note. Man, I appreciate you. You're a blessing, man. Thank you, man. Peace.
The feeling's mutual. Thank you. You have a good night. 43. Yeah, he's got 3 years on me. Let's go out to 607.
Yo.
Yo.
Great job out in Seattle yesterday. And
it would have been so.
Vermont,
I'm just like, man. I mean, when is the All-Star game coming back to Seattle and my speaker doesn't work? I mean, what I gotta wait till I'm if it's another 20 some years, I'll be in my 60s. Come on. All right, let's go.
Yeah, Vermont is 107 forwards and 82 in reverse. And on 10/7, downtown Montpelier, the capital of Vermont, flooded late on July 10th. And the current governor of Vermont's the 82nd governor. And the day it floods, 10/7, is 25 days before the governor, the 82nd governor's birthday, and flood is 25. So just a perfect ritual. People thinking that it's Mother Nature, but it's just clear weather warfare, disaster capitalism. And you can just prove it in just 2 seconds, just using this simple code. I mean, he's the 82nd governor. The capital of his state floods on 10/7, 25 days from his birthday.
Military. And, I had somebody recently say, how do I convince my family that the weather can be controlled? Again, you guys, the mainstream media was reporting during the Chinese Olympics that they were controlling the weather to, have the right environment for the game. So just go back to those headlines. And again, I mean, there's a lot of other things you can point to, but that's a very recent example in the mainstream media. It's not on Alex Jones InfoWars. It's on all the mainstream news sources they watch. So again, weather warfare is a real thing. Weather manipulation is a real thing. JFK gave a speech about in the 60s, and weather warfare was admitted to from August 15th, 1952. That there's the Rainmaker guy from even before that. So, I mean, there's just so many ways that you can prove these points and get people to go, oh, okay, maybe I need to do some more research.
Yeah, and on top of that, Seattle is like Vermont, Gematria-wise, because Seattle's 82 and 107, and the day that Montpelier floods is the day of the Home Run Derby in Seattle. Of course, Seattle's known for rain, and just Vladimir Guerrero ends up winning, like Vladimir Putin's birthday.
Well, think about it, though. It does it in the Mariners Stadium, right? And his dad won the Derby. So now we have a father-son home run derby duo winner, first in history, and doing it in the stadium where the last father-son tandem was. What annoys me about that, I mean, Vlad did have some interesting numbers. He came in on 117 career home runs, and Major League Baseball's 117. The All-Star Game was 117. I looked at when his dad won it, and I was like, man, if only his dad won it 19 years before, that would be Lock City. I thought about the father-son thing, but yeah, that's exactly what they did, and they made the point about his father right away, and I was like, as they were talking about Griffey, you guys don't know how I'm always telling you about 94 in Seattle. Of course, Griffey won the home run competition in 94, but go ahead.
Yeah, this just popped in my head that I was looking at Alex Rodriguez, his career, and he obviously started his career in Seattle. And would you believe it that he made his debut 19 days before his 19th birthday? Seattle. 19.
Seattle, yeah.
And it's amazing. And just the fact that they have to do it in the Mariner Stadium, this father-son ritual, and then like the OKC move, or Seattle Supersonics move to OKC, where LeBron said the next thing he wants to do is play with his son.
Right.
It's so obvious.
Yeah.
So obvious. But that's pretty much all I got. I just wanted to shine a light on the continuing disaster capitalism with the perfect ritual in Vermont. And
again, military 107. military controlling the weather, all kinds of flooding in the Northeast. You know what was crazy is the same day that you're getting the headlines out the crazy rain in the Northeast, man, it was the hardest rain I've seen here in a long time on the same day. So I'm sure there was some flooding out here in the Pacific Northwest as well on that same day. And I just thought, I was like, I didn't even see the headlines out the East Coast. I was like, man, it is raining crazy today. So same stuff going on all over the place.
Yeah, that's for sure. And just shout out to all the callers and all the people in the chat and in the community. And I also just want to say the first 10 years of this work that you've been doing, I hope you don't feel that you missed out on anything. I think the past 10 years, you've done the best anybody could ever do, like in life. So just keep up the great work. The next 10 years are going to be even better, man. But
I don't know about that, the way the world's going, man, but I will continue to do the work. It's frustrating because the point of doing the work is to try and stop the agendas that I saw coming a mile away, and they're here, and the censorship's way worse. I mean, again, like I always say, the censorship was starting to get really bad in 2012, which made me start speaking out in 2013. While I still could, and, you know, technically you still can, but it's a lot harder, and it's only going to get harder unless things are done. And for the people right now out there who listen to my thing and still support Trump, and didn't you see Trump's 14 points? He's going to fight big tech censorship. Do you really think he's going to do that? I mean, the big tech censorship went through the roof when he was in office, and he didn't say anything about it. So, anyway.
I know the goal of the work is to stop the agendas. That might never happen, but along the way, know that you've changed a lot of people's lives and you've opened a lot of people's eyes. And that's all I got for now, Zach, and have a good night. Peace.
All right. Take care, brother. Thanks. All right. That's Joey. Let's go out to 408. What's up, 408?
All right. Good evening, Zach.
How you doing?
Got a few things to point out here. First, most of these things are baseball related. First thing is the other day the MLB draft, and Paul Skeens was the #1 draft pick, and obviously this is the year of Skull and Bones in 2023. Skull and Crossbones equals 223, and Paul Skeens was drafted #1 by the Pirates. Of course, the Skull and Bones logo has got the pirate symbology, and those 4 months and it's 41 days after his birthday. Skull and Bones equals 41. Also, you're talking about the home run derby and Vlad Guerrero Jr. winning. And I just remember back when I was 10 years old, I went to the home run derby when it was in San Francisco, and I saw his dad win it then. So it just kind of brought back some memories. One thing, we were talking about the presidents and their lineage to English royalty. One thing that I stumbled across the other day is the Ocean Gate guy, Stockton Rush. One of his ancestors is great grandfather was Benjamin Rush, who was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and another one of his great grandfather was Richard Henry Rush, a colonel in the Civil War. So. And just goes to show that all these people in news and politics, they've got connections.
Yeah, indeed they do.
And then one last thing that I thought was funny was that my dad texted me earlier today. He said, "I'm sitting here at this cafe and half the crowd is trans teenagers. When did this happen?"
Yeah, when did it happen? It happened very fast recently.
I guess it's just what's happened with this younger generation, and with all the brainwashing they get from the TV and the media and other forms of culture and that kind of stuff. And I did watch bits and pieces of your live stream from Seattle yesterday, and it does make me kind of want to go out to a Rangers game at some point in the near future. Hopefully by next week's show, I'll have a date for that. But because based on the stuff that you were talking about, now I have a good idea of if I went outside a baseball game, I would know what to talk about.
Yeah. Do it. It was fun. And I mean, just go up and, just like I did, just approach them with like a smile and like, oh, hey man, like, how are you guys, Cubs and New York? What's that about? And then you listen to them for a second and say, okay, I got to tell you something. Tell me what you think about this. And I mean, again, if anyone watched it, I'd say at least 2/3 of the people I talked to are receptive to the information. So.
All right. Sounds good. Well, you have a great rest of the show.
All right. Yeah. Have a good night, Evan. Okay. And just organic side, shout out to Nick. Nick just did a big super chat. He just dropped $50, and I just noticed it because on my screen it gives me a running total of how much money's been raised during the stream. This is the most we've raised in a stream in a long time. Thank you. Oh, hold on. I'll tell you guys after the break. Sit tight.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
I feel like you're trying to get out of bounds.
I go hard. I go hard. If I were soft, I would not have gotten this far. I go hard. I go hard. I go hard.
I'm familiar.
Yes, you heard. I say sit down, everybody. And they don't sit down. They refuse to sit down. They don't sit down. Sit down, everybody. And they don't sit down. They refuse to sit down. They don't sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Down. They refuse to sit down. They don't sit down. If I don't go all the way, if I don't win, do they understand? But the three ways to better play. And money. And money. And money. And money. And money. 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 If I don't look back and say I wish I didn't do this or that, I'm not stupid. It's a fact. I never had a dream. The thing against me, brother, is a retweet or kill the tweet. I retweet and respond. Do what they did to me. I'm gonna fight back. It's not a one-way street. I go hard. I go hard. If I were soft, I would not have gotten this far. I go hard. I go hard. I go hard.
I'm familiar.
Yes, you are hard.
Mr. Trump, some have suggested that you refuse to release your tax returns because of your extreme privacy concerning your hobbies.
Yes.
So, can you confirm or deny this list of personal pastimes?
Yeah, I guess so.
The fingerboarding,
I go hard.
Minecraft,
I go hard.
Podiatry,
I go hard.
hacky sack,
I go hard.
balloon animal,
I go hard.
breeding cats,
I go hard.
CrossFit,
Waste of time.
coloring,
I go hard.
doing Zumba,
I go hard.
water polo,
I go hard.
playing tuba, spray tan,
I go hard.
driving Uber, putting together a bed frame from IKEA,
Waste of time.
while you're sequencing the entire human genome.
Waste of time.
Cytosine,
Waste of time.
guanine,
Waste of time.
adenine,
Waste of time.
thymine,
Waste of time.
all the means.
Waste of time.
Into the true frequency.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now. followed by the half key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, I was just saying, Nick gave a big $50 super chat and posted 111 total for the night, which is a lot because we normally don't even get close to $100 in a TFR episode in super chat. So thank you. But his $50 super chat was about getting us back to New York, and of course, New York equals 111, $111 for the night. It costs a lot more than $111 to get out to New York City, but yeah, I do appreciate it. And I really would like to still do the California Kobe trip, and of course New York 9/11. I realized, it's just like yesterday after I ended the stream, a couple women came out who've come out several times in Seattle, and one lady let me know she hasn't been able to get back on the Patreon for months. It discontinued her subscription, and it hasn't let her sign back up. I hear that feedback all the time, so I don't know if it's some kind of sabotage. For all of you guys who have that same story and that's why you don't support the work anymore, I think if you make a new email address, you can probably do it again if you got the time to make a new email address just to support the work. But yeah, every time I go out and pound payment, it's just like I got the letter that I've been removed from the partner program, but I'm getting super chats tonight, so I thought if you get removed from the partner program, you can't even get that. Maybe it just means I don't get any ad revenue, which isn't a big deal because I don't get ad revenue anyway. But yeah, I mean, one day after being out in Seattle, it's not an accident. Today I get the letter from YouTube that I've been removed from the partner program. And yeah, again, they don't want to. It's just like last year when I drove all the way across the nation. As soon as I got into Buffalo, as soon as I parked my car in the parking lot at the top, so my second trip back to Buffalo, before we drove down to New York City that night from Buffalo, I got the YouTube notification that the channel was demonetized. And that one did say it was demonetized and not removed from the partner program, so I'm not exactly sure what the difference is between the two, but there's some kind of distinction, apparently. So, but yeah, again, I mean, it's not just me. It's like so many people who are speaking out in the world and trying to make a difference and go against major league agendas beyond Major League Baseball. There's a real effort to undermine people financially. They know money controls people. I try not to be controlled by money. And I've made that a point since way before any of you guys knew about me. Again, there's not a lot of people in this world who can say that they gave up a six-figure salary to work in a group home for $10 an hour. But that's something I once did in my early 20s. And I didn't feel bad about it all. I got a lot of grief from the people around me. And like my own sister thought I was insane. But I thought it was one of the best things I ever did. And I felt good about myself, That said, working in a group home takes another kind of toll on you. It's sad to see what a lot of young people in this world have to go through, coming from traumatic households, parents incarcerated, whatever. So then they're put in a trauma box with a bunch of other children experiencing trauma, and it's just a huge trauma cycle. But people should see it, and people should work in that kind of environment just to have perspective on life, and learn how to just, be helpful to others and kind to others and try to bring peace into people's lives who really need it. And there's something really rewarding about helping out people in need, especially young people, old people, all kinds of people. And that was everything sad, too, just about walking from Seattle yesterday. So, funny things, I had a few dollars in my pocket, when I got to Seattle, just, I didn't even make it probably a quarter mile down the block before I'd given away the dollars in my pocket. And I ended up giving away my water bottle, too. A homeless guy in the street asked if he could get a drink out of my water bottle. And I thought about it for a second, because I was like, okay, back when I lived in Seattle, back in the day, you guys, I lived in Seattle, I shared a few bottles and a few joints with some homeless dudes. But so I was like, okay, here, have a drink of my water. And then after I gave him the drink of the water, he asked if he could keep the water bottle. And then I felt bad, and I was like, well, I guess I can get more water. So I let him keep the water bottle. And, but yeah, I mean, it's sad. I mean, it's just sad, it's just sad right now. You go through the city, all these people in need, all these people with signs that need help. I mean, there's just so many people in the world that need help right now. This work needs more resources to do what it needs to do. But so many people need resources even more than I do. That's the other thing I just felt about. I just felt about how many people were so needy out on the streets yesterday. And then all these people just filing in to watch these games. Every parking lot was either between $120 and $100. And if you got more than a mile and a half away from the stadium, the price dropped down to $90, between $90 and $70. But just all these lots totally full. Probably just probably more than $1 million spent on parking alone by the people going to the game tomorrow. Not to mention how much they're paying for the beer and the tickets and the food. There's a reason that the city of Seattle spent $20 million just to get rid of most of the homeless people for the All-Star weekend. You got the military spending tax money on the huge jet flyover. It's just all this money and resource to watch a game. And then all these people around the stadium that just need help. And it's like, here's the other thing that I just noticed that was just so funny to watch. In the 7th inning stretch, in a baseball game, you have the 7th inning stretch, the longer break between innings. So many people were filing out of the stadium to get back to their cars to leave before the rest of the crowd so they're not stuck in traffic. And I'm just like, think about this. These people paid like $100 to $120 to park. Who knows how much money for the tickets and the food and everything else. I bet the people who flew to the game probably didn't worry so much about leaving early, but it's the Seattle people who wanted to beat the traffic. But they didn't even see the end of the game. I mean, they missed the most exciting moments of the game. But sports fans are doing this all the time, spending all this money to go to the game and then not even finishing the game, so often missing the end and the outcome and the excitement just so they don't get stuck in the traffic jam. And the other thing is, I was just looking at the body language of the people coming out. Most of them didn't look happy. I mean, most of them coming out of the game did not look happy. They looked like disgruntled or disappointed or stressed out. I don't know. I was just like, what are they even doing? Seriously, what's in their mind? You're getting ripped off. You're spending crazy money. I mean, wouldn't you have felt better about yourself if instead of spending... I mean, let's just say that I bet the average fan at that game dropped in the neighborhood of $500 to attend the game. And for all the people who flew, they spent way more than that. They got the cost of the flight, the hotel, probably the Uber instead of the parking, the food. So I think it's a low estimate to say the average person in that stadium spent $500 to watch a game. Tens of thousands of people fit in that stadium. So much money spent. And I just feel like a lot of those people, if they could see the reward of spending that money to help out somebody in need, to do something that actually makes the world better, they'd feel better. I mean, I was talking about when we were out there, I was like, look at all these people coming out of the stadium right now just to get back to their car, and they're totally missing the game, and they look so unhappy. I mean, what? It's just like people are just going through the motions. Like they're programmed to go spend all this money and watch the game, even though they obviously didn't want to watch the game that much because they were more worried about not being in the traffic jam afterwards. It's insanity. And oh, by the way, another WWE star's dead, and he's dead 44 days before Vince McMahon's birthday, and he's dead the same day the Surfer's dead at age 44. And how many times have we talked about 44 and suspicious deaths? All right, let me get back out to the callers. And I'm going to give South Carolina another chance in case I caught my bad time. South Carolina, did you want to get on the show tonight?
But I feel like I can communicate and speak sometimes, and I don't want to.
No, man.
I can't figure out what's going on with that person. They're on the line and like having a conversation with somebody else. All right, 772. What's up?
Hey, Zach, what's up?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm gonna be the only person to call in on topic. People, you were talking about, people that have had supernatural experiences, and I remember I did have some weird Gematria stuff that happened with my ex like a year ago, but I don't remember what it was. But there was this other thing that back when you did the TFR, when you came back from LA, the LA trip, you were talking about on TFR how Jeff Young found $100 on the ground, and so I missed that TFR that night. I was watching it the next day, and as I was watching it, I got to that part where you were talking about Jeff Young finding the $100 on the ground, and you said that whoever you are, it's nice if you find $100 on the ground. And then my ex-girlfriend texted me like right at that like exact moment. She texted me that her dad found $100 on the floor right as you said that.
Funny.
It was really weird. Yeah. This other time, this isn't really related to Gematria, but this other time, this was like a few years ago, what had gotten me on like the journey to like looking into like remote viewing and ESP and all that stuff was that I had an experience that one time there was this friend that I met from Germany like a few years ago, like 5 years ago, and like a couple, like I hadn't thought about her like in a while. I wasn't really thinking about her. Like I didn't talk to her anymore. But I thought for some reason she was in Germany. She lived in Germany. I had like no contact with her, and I had like a dream that like her mom died, and when I woke up, I was like, that's like, I was like, man, I bet that I wonder if her mom died today. And 2 weeks later, I found out through like, some friends that her mom had died that day, and I had no idea because I hadn't talked to her in like over a year. So I had no idea how the family was doing or anything like that. And that was what got me started on the journey to ESP. And I remember after that, after I had already figured out remote viewing and all that stuff, I had, me and my dad went, sometimes we go like dumpster diving or whatever, like every week on the garbage day, like sometimes we'll go out and look around, see what people threw away. And so one time there's, our old community used to be split. There was like one half on one side and one half on the other. It was like literally like a fork in the road. And so we, when we went, my dad said like we didn't look around that day. He said, there's a TV somewhere that someone threw away. Where is it? Like he just guessed that. And I said, oh, drive here down this street. Drive here down the other one. It's going to be right at the corner. And then when we went there, it was there. It was like right there. And it was like exactly how I had thought in my mind, even though I never saw it and I didn't know. Neither of us did. We just like, we saw it, like through space. It's really hard to describe. But those are the like really weird experiences that I've had, and I've had a lot of things like the thing with the $100 on the ground, like stuff like that happens to me all the time. It's too much to even keep track of.
Life is strange. Austin, who was out with me at the game yesterday, he says next time will be the fourth time he comes out to pound pavement. He says it's going to be the charm, and it says right now as he writes that there's 404 people watching the stream. As he says the fourth time will be the charm. So life is cool. Strange.
One time, a few times, what's happened to me a lot is I'll be asleep. And in my dream, I'm looking at my clock and I'm seeing what time it is. And then like right when I wake up, I look at the clock and that's like the exact time that it is, and like minutes and seconds and all that stuff, like that's all made up. And like PM and AM, that's not actually like the unit of time in which it moves. It's just something that people made up. So it's like, it's really weird. Like it's kind of impossible that I would know that while I'm asleep. But you were talking about Christians too. I know that that's been the topic this week. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about that. And You know, like one of the things I was thinking about, I remember you were talking about how people, they think of like everlasting life and like paradise or heaven or whatever. And you know, how that's a great reward. But the thing is that like, do people ever really think about like what paradise would be like according to the Bible, like what's right and wrong and all that stuff? Like what are they going to be doing all day, like forever? You know, is it like they're going to be singing praises to God? That doesn't sound like something I'd want to be doing for eternity. You know, that sounds miserable. You know what, like if I'm thinking about like paradise, I'm gonna be like having like a threesome and like, you know, probably doing drugs and all that stuff. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that's not what people envision. So it's like, what are you gonna be doing for that huge amount of time? You know, like you'd have to be doing something like that. So like, what do people think when they think that? I guess they don't think about it. But you know, people are, of course, they're very they get mad if you try and question their you know, ridiculous beliefs. And like, you know, I've compared, you know, the Christianity to just like, it's basically like Santa Claus. You know, it's just as absurd. And when people start talking about it, it's like, you know, I mean, there's just as much as proof that the Bible's real as there is that Santa Claus exists. You know, and it just sounds ridiculous, and it sounds like a, you know, a mental illness, you know, when people start talking about religion and, you know, and Jesus and I saw Jesus and God and whatever, and it's like, you know, this person just sounds like they're schizophrenic or something. Like, this doesn't sound like somebody in their right mind, you know, because once it's not about Jesus or God or whatever, then they put that person away in a mental asylum, you know. If they start talking about that they saw something else or whatever, then that person goes to a mental asylum. But if it has to do with religion, then that person's just faithful, you know. Yeah, and it's funny you were talking about people at the game that like they didn't want to talk to anybody. They're just like on their phone and whatever. You know, it's sad that people have become that way, because now that's like what it is. Like, nobody wants to talk, and
well, not nobody.
Like,
that was the minority, but there were some people who were just staring at their
Okay.
phone, and I was like, oh, this guy just wants to be on the screen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that mentality, that's what I'm talking about. I've noticed I guess it's still not the majority, but I noticed it's become like a lot more prevalent, where like people don't really want any real interactions. They just like want to be on their phone or on the screen. You know, like there's so many people now that just watch porn, and they're like, oh, I don't need to find a woman. Like, oh, I don't why would I find a girlfriend? I can just watch porn. And like, it's so stupid, and it's just like a weak mentality. And like, you know, I've noticed like it's just become a thing now. It's like now guys don't even care about going out and trying to, like, you know, fuck or anything like that. Now they just want to, you know, watch porn, and, you know, they will just want to like be on the phone. They don't want to talk to anybody. Like I see all these memes and stuff like, when the food delivery person, oh no, when I have to talk to them, oh no, I hate having to talk to people. It's like, oh my God, just fucking get over yourself. Like, what's the big deal, you know?
Hey, by the way, you saying that reminds me. You know, Dana, shout out to Dana on the East Coast. She made the T-shirts that I wear all the time. The one that says conspiracy theory is not, or a critical thought is not a conspiracy theory. I wear that shirt all the time when I go out. I wore it yesterday. A lot of people like that T-shirt. And people have said I should make that shirt myself, but the reason I don't is I want people to buy it from Dana. If you guys see Dana Marie in the chat, I saw her in here earlier tonight. Dana Marie, you know, she's a great person, single mom. She can always use the financial help. She makes my GematriaEffectNews sign back there. She made that. She made the T-shirts that I wear. If you guys want anything with a good message on it, she can make that for you, and she is worthy of being supported. And that T-shirt's, I get a lot of compliments on that shirt. While I was trying to get my speaker working yesterday, I had several people come up and say, hey, I like your shirt. And, you know, if I was a single man, there was actually a woman that's probably around the same age as me, and she came up and said she really liked my shirt. And I just, you know, sometimes just having a cool shirt with a cool message might help you connect with the right person. I was thinking, hey, if I was a single guy, you know, who knows? I might be meeting myself a nice little lady today, all because I had on this shirt right here. So anyway, you guys putting yourself out there, you know, having the right kind of energy about you, the right message on your shirt, it might bring the right person to you in your life. But yeah, again, they are trying to create a societal breakdown of communication and normal personal relationships and human relationships. And yeah, again, that's another reason why we got to get out there and do things like what we did yesterday. So.
Yeah, and they want people just talking like on Facebook and Threads and all these, all these censored outlets. So everybody just talks to each other. So oh, you can't talk about this. That's not, that's not halal. We're gonna ban you if you start talking about truth-related content. Oh no, you can't have that. And then and then people defend them and say, well, they're a private company. Oh yeah, like as if they don't have ties with the government and all that stuff. A, it's not a private company. B, why should some private organization be able to have control over what people are talking about? Since when is that good? How that shouldn't even be legal. Like, this isn't Johnny's forum that some guy's running on his laptop in his basement. This is a multi-trillion-dollar corporation that, billions of people are using and communicating with each other with. How is that an acceptable thing to have? And I'm gonna get around to I got to get around to making some merch because I want to make some shirts and some hoodies and stuff, and I just haven't gotten to it. I've been working on the website, and my router broke. It's having some problem that I can't run a website from it. So I got a new one, and yeah, the new Gematria calculator will be up. Once that thing gets running, and you guys will be seeing that. I know that Zach, you'll like the new one, and what's cool about the new one is that. It's a file that you can just, I can send it to you if you want. I can email it. You can run it offline. Like if you click the file, it'll just open up in your web browser and you'll have the calculator right there. So even if you're not connected to the internet, it'll still work. So I was thinking, I could send you a Chromebook or something like that with that file on it. And maybe you could show it when you go up and pound pavement on the street, you could show people live decodes right there.
Indeed. All right, well, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Let me know when it's done.
All right. Yeah, say. Yeah. I'll let you know. And for anybody that wants to subscribe to my channel, Truth Does Not Exist. You can look me up on YouTube. Truth Does Not Exist. You guys can subscribe. Help me get to 2,000 subscribers.
All right. Truth Does Not Exist. All right. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Have a good night.
Yeah. Just for the record, you guys, the calculator I have on my website, which is free to download. It's on all platforms that you can download things on. It works offline, too. You don't need an internet connection. So he's working on one as well. It'll probably have some more bells and whistles. Here, let me fix this troll in the chat. Adios. There was a big fix. A lot of annoying comments from that one. Let's go out to 937. What's going on, 937?
Hey, how's it going, Zach?
It's going all right. How are you?
Not much. This is Truth Seekers on YouTube. We've talked before, man. Before I get my comment, I just want to say I disagree heavily with this call, man, when you talk about, God and Christianity. I mean, I know not everyone's going to believe, but ask yourself this, it wasn't real, then why does the Christianity, quote unquote religion always is the one that gets made fun of, you know what I mean? So, I mean, ask yourself that question. Like any other religion isn't mocked as heavily as Christianity is. You don't see them going out and mocking, Buddha or anything like that. It's always mocking Jesus.
So the Christians were all out there yesterday mocking Muhammad and Buddha and pretty much everyone.
Right, but see, I'm a Christian. I'm not gonna sit there and mock anybody. They're gonna believe what they're gonna believe.
So tell me anywhere where Christianity is being mocked, because I can't think of it. Other than from the Jesuits. The Jesuits like to mock it. The Jesuits do like to mock it. The Society of Jesus likes to mock it.
The musicians like to mock it. Look at the Randy, Sam Smith, and a school thing. Like Little Uzi, he mocks it.
Well, we know that they do it. We know who controls them. But at the same time, they also demonize the other religions too. I mean, no religion's been more demonized in the post 9/11 era than Islam.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I know there is anything everyone's doing view. But I was really getting to the Jamie Foxx thing. That's what I was telling you again. Did you see where they're talking about how he is playing pickleball again? You know, after they get some football.
Yeah, every day's a back. This is the stuff they're doing with Jamie Foxx is just like what is this? This is some kind of major mind game on all of the. The reason they do this is because so many people are so emotionally attached to someone like Jamie Foxx, who's been a star in the mind's eye of the masses for decades, and they're playing this huge mental game with him. So.
Well, what else is interesting too is now they're showing when he's doing a documentary on Luther Vandross, and Luther Vandross passed away from a stroke, just like James Blunt had a stroke. And in Gematria, Luther Vandross murdered and pickleball equals 83 in cipher. So it's kind of just right in your face and telling you that there's a ritual here, and people just are spending all their time and energy, like you said, like sports and things like that, when there's a real, spiritual battle of good and evil. And right before your very eyes, but actually doing these rituals to mock people.
Caller, we're losing your signal right now. We're losing your signal right now. Give us a call back because it's hard to hear you right now. Your signal fell out.
Yeah, you got me now. Sorry about that. I was in a bad area. But yeah, it's just they're mocking us. They're constantly mocking us.
Yeah, indeed. We got a commercial break too. All right, thank you. Be right back, everybody.
The heart is feeling.
Here's the second word, fascination. A bit beyond just simple interest. Interested people are probably satisfied that it ticks. It ticks. And that's good to know. It ticks. But fascinated people want to know what? What makes it tick? Fascinated people aren't satisfied usually with surface information. They've got to know more than just what appears. What is really going on? What's making things tick? What's making things happen? Why do people feel like they do and think like they think? What is the difference between success and failure? Who has the appetite and who doesn't have the appetite? This whole fascination about life and people and circumstances and society and money and banks and churches and sermons and books and records and life experiences and enterprise and nations and color and races and religion. I'm telling you, if you'll take a new fascinated look at life and what's going on, it will now show up in color and sharpness in your future communication.
Is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Once in a decade, a true story comes along that remembers the future. After 6 Amazon bestsellers, I have completed the epic Birth Trilogy, a true story of Earth. By reading the Birth Trilogy, you will journey with the characters from the origin of Earth to its final destiny in a white-knuckle ride that combines the intrigue of Tom Clancy with the epic scope of Prometheus and Interstellar. You will learn more about the purpose of life, the mystery of death, and the true nature of your soul than you thought possible. The Birth Trilogy is now available on Amazon and Kindle. The audio version is a free bonus when you buy the paperback, so even if you're not a great reader, don't worry about it. I read it for you. Use the Amazon app today and buy the Birth Trilogy, spelled B-E-A-R-T-H, or search for my name. I'm Brooks Agnew.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
right, we're back. True Seeker. It's already the final 30 minutes of the show. And if you do want to call in tonight, there are only 3 people on hold. And I think one of them actually won't want to be on because they've already been on. I think they just called back in to listen. So you want to get on the show, call in now. Numbers on the screen, 213-233-3998. And let's go out to our friend in New York. How you doing?
Hey, Zach, what's up, man?
You know, another day in paradise.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. What's up? Nothing new?
Not. You get a hold of Rambo?
Yeah, I spoke to him today.
Okay. How's he doing?
You see, he's doing, said getting dead threat and all and couple of stuff like that, you know, so changing and Patreon.
I see.
So and so you have to reach out to him, so, you know.
I see.
There's no mind coming back on, you know.
Yeah, I was wondering if he might call in tonight, but he did not. He was worried that calling back in might bring more problems. So.
No, I think him was I spoke with him since he was doing some delivery. He was busy.
Sure.
And so me give me a call tomorrow. Let me show it tomorrow when I'm up the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything is what it is. So, you know.
Okay.
You can reach out to him and, you know, we all need to get back together, man.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, I'm still there, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get the word out, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Little by little.
Anything new with you?
No, I just, you know, chill to him, you know, as usual. Take it just one day at a time, you know?
All we can do. So.
Yep. But the word is getting out there. It's getting out. Little by little, it's getting out there.
Right.
People are waking up.
Yeah, little by little.
Yeah.
So. All right, friend. Well, thank you for reaching out to Rambo, and hopefully we hear from him soon. But I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, all right. Please talk.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you as always.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, all right.
You have a good night.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. From New York to Michigan. 248. You're on 248.
Hi, Zach.
Hello.
Zach, hi. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Hey, Zach. It's Vicky G from Michigan. How you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Thank you.
Thanks for going out. I didn't get through all the stream yesterday live, but we here really do appreciate you, and I know it must be so frustrating not getting the support, but for whatever it's worth, here's someone who really does, who's still in a bad spot. But anyway, Zach, I have a couple things I want to share tonight, and I want to start with something that's been kind of bothering me with someone very close to me is really in this Q-tard crap. And anyway, somebody from the movement who's big in the community or their community died. And when she told me how, I'm like, okay, that was planned. So if you don't mind, if you can just pull it off. I ran some of the numbers, but I couldn't complete the whole riddle, if you don't mind. Are you familiar with the name Michael Brian Protzman? I think I'm saying that.
Michael Brian, what's the last name?
Okay, it's
Protzman. I found it. Okay.
Okay, so he's a really big leader in their little cult, and just the way he died is so suspicious because, first of all, the dude's like 59 or 60. Okay, so as you've been teaching us, you know, if somebody's 59, they're entering their 60th day of the year, the first day of your, you know, I'm not saying it properly, I'm sorry, but they're they're entering their 60th year of life. So the numerology for his birth, for the date that he died was 6/30/23, which equals 59. And some articles are saying he was 59, some are saying 60. But I did the decodes on what I've learned so far, and a lot of numbers are popping. I'm not able to complete the whole riddle, so do you want me to tell you what I found, or do you want to just quickly do it on your own and share?
No, go ahead and share, because I haven't looked into it.
All right, so he goes by the screen name of -48, and I guess he does Gematria. So this person is always like, your Gematria is so satanic and there's good and whatever. So anyway, he, from the time of it falls on the 181st day of the year that he died. -48 equals 181, which means 184 days left of the year. I can't figure out what the 184 left of the days year is, but I got the numerology as far as his age. What else can I tell you? Let me pull it up here. So where he died, it was in Minnesota, and he was on a dirt bike. The guy's totally out of shape. I don't know if you know anything about motorcycles, but you gotta be someone in shape to be able to hold yourself just on a comfortable Harley rider type. I forget the name of it now. My ex had one, but a dirt bike. This dude has like the biggest beer belly, and they were very blatantly lucid in describing that he had multiple blunt something injuries. Like, in other words, somebody smashed his face in. I mean, it's possible to fall and really hurt yourself on the head, but boy, they were so multiple. Anyhow, what else can I tell you? There is, in the city itself, Millville, I'm getting a 56, and his full name, like O'Brien Protzman, I'm seeing a 322, 322, and I see a 101, and I know a master number, as you have taught us, is 11. So I was wondering if there's anything else that you can, the whole death of it is weird, and they were talking about how he was going to go down to Texas and see JFK Jr.'s alive, and there's this big thing, and that's all she's been talking about, driving me nuts with that. But
well, think about the day he died, right? He was saying JFK was going to be resurrected, and JFK died in 63, and then he dies on 6/30.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Well, I missed that one, so I knew there was more. Okay. Anything else you think? Or not think, but no?
I just always want to remind people, when you're decoding, look for the most simple surface level thing, because it's usually right there and it's very easy to explain.
Yeah, she's not having it. She's so under. God. Anyway, okay, thank you. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is I wanted to add more to your 201. I was kind of playing around with some stuff. Maybe you know it already and you haven't mentioned it or I missed it, but Memorial Day vacation equals 201. Did you know that?
I didn't. Memorial Day vacation 201. Also, one other thing about this guy's death that stands out, I don't know if Rolling Stone's day of breaking the news is the same day everybody else did, but Rolling Stone broke the news of his death on July 6th, which is the 187th day of the year. And again, JFK was killed in the 187th year of the nation's existence. And just the title of how his death is remembered, the JFK assassination. People don't know this one.
Yeah.
JFK assassination equals 187. And in Sumerian Gematria, which is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6, it equals 1122, like how he died on 11/22, November 22nd, again in the 187th year of the nation's existence. So,
what a slap. Okay, I knew there was more. That's why I wanted to call it in. Thank you so much. So going back to the 201, yeah, the fake holidays that they set up for the nation and the fake wars. So Memorial Day vacation is 201, and then if you type in Memorial Day weekend, you get a 303 for 33. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if you already knew that. I know that you got the Christmas stuff down. Are you all set on Easter with the Easter Bunny equaling 201 and the Easter egg hunt is also 201?
The Easter Bunny's 201?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. It's 177 and 201, just like the Jesuit order. Hilarious.
Okay. Yeah. And Easter egg hunt is also 201?
Huh. Yeah, I didn't really
Mhm.
observe that before, but yeah, you're right. It sure is.
Oh no, I got a few. Oh, you're gonna love this if you don't already know. So I remember. Okay, I remember on a stream at some point you were talking about when we compress the numbers singularly, and I know you don't teach it this way, and I was just curious to ask you because when you talk about event 201, some other people say event 21 because in math we don't count to zeros,
No, absolutely,
So,
absolutely that matters because as we know, Jesuits 21, Bibles 21, the Jesuit Orders 201, the Holy Bibles 201. No, that definitely is part of the reason 201 and 21 are. And I'll remind you all, 21 is the sixth triangular number. Man is made on the sixth day. God regrets making man in Genesis 6:6, and then 666 is the number of a man and the number of the beast. So it also comes back to 6. We know the Jesuits are a Saturnian cult too, which is why Pope Francis is born on Saturnalia. And Saturn has all the 201 and 21 connections and is the sixth planet. And a lot of people who contend the Bible's all astrotheology, that Saturn is the god of the Old Testament and the sun is the god of the New Testament. But go ahead.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up because I'm going to pivot there in a moment. But let me finish my 201s because you're going to love this one. I got your book, and I should have looked this up before, and I apologize, but the 4th of July, if you write it out, the 4th of July, it's 2-1, 2-0. So you get another, and we know they love to invert stuff, okay? Now, this isn't an exact invert, but it still equals 21. So I thought that was interesting. And then you go, so I know you got all the 74s or 47s, and especially with the 4th of July stuff, and I'll get to that in a minute with Independence Day in 74, but the fireworks show also equals 210. So you have the 4th of July and the fireworks show 210. I didn't know if you find that of any relevance, but I thought it would share since I'm on the 201 kick. And Labor Day, the other main holiday of the year. No 201s, but I did. What do people do on Labor Day? Well, they shop. So I typed in Labor Day sale equals 74. So there's another 74 to go with many of your other 74s. And then I was playing around with July 4th, 1776 equals 47. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't either, man. I was just on a kick, I had some time and I was just playing around with it. And then when you type in 4th of July holiday equals 74, did you get that one?
I didn't have that one either, but now I do.
Okay, cool. And I got one more. The July 4th weekend is also 74.
Okay.
Damn. Well, incident, but one more. I got a 47 for you. Uncle Sam is 47. Did you know that?
Uncle Sam, 47?
It's 88 and 47, man.
Yeah. Wow, Uncle Sam's a lot like Trump, actually. That's funny. Uncle Sam and Trump have a lot going on in common. 88, 25, 47 for both of them.
Yeah. And, there are some Christmas stuff there too once, but Christmas stockings is 74, and that goes real nicely with, the Virgin Mary and Jesus and cross. Well, no, I'm sorry. I may be mixing that up with the 33s. But, yeah, you got another 74 there and two more other things. Flag Day is 56, and Labor Day is 33.
Huh.
So I thought I would share that with you. So, two other things I want to bring up. The first is, you mentioned this before, and I apologize, where you can download your first book, or if you don't want to download it, if you don't want to download, you want to get it on print, that is a lot cheaper than FedEx or another place you would go and print it off, Kinko's. We're online. You mentioned it before in another stream. I forgot.
You can if you want to pay for the books, you can buy both of them, the digital books, from my website, GematriaEffectNews. They're both there, and then if you want to download them for free, if you search Subscribestar Zachary K. Hubbard, that page will pop right up, and just right on that splash page is the link there to download both ebooks for free.
No, I want to print it. I bought your book. I bought your number games, but the first one you mentioned that you weren't able to print it, and I want a physical copy.
Oh, yeah,
Where
yeah.
can
So you can download it or buy the digital version, whatever you want to do, and then you send that digital version to Lulu, which is just LULU.com. And I'm not sure what they're charging anymore. 3 years ago they charged $35 to turn it into a book, which isn't bad for how big it is because it's nearly 800 pages. But I have not looked.
I know.
I'm sure it costs more now since the price of everything's up. So
It's okay. Okay, I just didn't know. Yeah, because it is over 800. That's why I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, and thank you so much for spending time with me. I know I took up a lot. Is you mentioned this before, and I was looking for the video and I couldn't find it. Where time is the ultimate authority, and I totally agree, 100%. And you got into, and this was way before several months before I even found you. I was thinking about time and why is it 12 and why is it 12 and why are there 50, seconds in a minute and then 24 hours in it. And you went through all that in relation to the sun and how there's sun call on some video that, again, I couldn't find. And I was wondering, could you please be so kind and spend a minute or two re-explaining the significance of the hours of the day that they also gave us, the stake with the calendar?
Well, again, it all comes back to stars and the zodiac, right? I mean, so many spiritual beliefs are tied to the stars, and they've made everything about 12, 12 constellations, and then our time revolves around the nearest star, so we have 12 months, we have 12 hours in the morning and the evening, and there's probably some other thoughts that I put out there before, and I'm probably, as soon as I finish the call, I'll forget or remember the other part that I was supposed to say, but I mean, that's what it largely comes back to is the stars.
Okay. All right. And then that's it, Zach. That's all I got. Thank you so much for taking my call. Be well and have a wonderful night.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Welcome. All right. Let's go out to Fresno 559. Hello?
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, hi Zach, this is Brianna.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you for hosting. I have a question. So it's really tied to 9/11. I've been following your work, to say the least. My brother's birthday is January 19th, and I'm seeing a lot of mirrors of the 9/11, and I just kind of want to open up the discussion as to what is it meaning for you? Because for me, it's kind of going deep and I'm ready to go there, but it's getting very, sensitive, if you will, with the code.
What can you ask your question again?
Yeah, what does 9/11 mean to you? Because for me, it's starting to reveal itself through the code, within my own family. That's why I'm asking, but thank you.
Well, so you're asking me, what does the number 9/11 mean to me personally?
Yeah, because for me, it's getting personal with the code.
I mean, personally, it doesn't mean anything to me. I understand. I think a big part of the order that's doing this is a sun cult, and we know in Gematria, sun equals 9, and the sun has an 11-year cycle. We know things like how in Jewish Gematria,
Okay.
Vatican Hill's 9/11. So I know what it is to them and why it's so symbolic to them. 9 represents completion. 11's the master number, completion of a master plan. But what, just out of curiosity, what's it mean to you? Because you said it's starting to become clear.
So, yeah, thank you. The clarity that's kind of revealing itself through the code is that it's kind of the cycle's ending. There's a patriarchy line that's ending with my brother being born on the January 19th, being the 8 of Diamonds suit. And then it's kind of I'm stepping in. That's how it's kind of feeling, to rewrite that 9/11 energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet Lady says Sweet Lady always points out 9/11 because she said for whatever reason she feels like her eyes always gravitate towards the clock when it's 9/11. She doesn't often look, but so often when she looks, it's 9/11. So, yeah, there's definitely something about those numbers.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to open up the discussion, like I said, but thank you for accepting my call.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. You have a good night.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care.
Good night, too.
Okay, Michigan phone back in. Michigan, did you have more to share tonight?
Yeah, my wife just sent me a text about Charles Manson. Did you cover his death?
Oh, yeah, he died in a big 83 ritual. In fact, his death is right at the beginning of my chapter on murder by numbers in my first book. So, yeah. His death happened right as I was finishing that book.
Really?
Yeah.
Your second book. When was that?
Here, I'll pull up my first post on my old blog about Charles Manson's death.
Cool. I missed that totally. How the heck did I miss that?
They had to report that his body was on ice on the 44th day of the year, February 13th. Hold on, but let me go back to my first post about his death. Again, for people who forget, Charles Manson was born in 34. In Gematria, murder does equal 34. The bigger way, murder equals 83, like Charles Manson equals 83. I'm trying to find the post on his death. I have so many posts on it, but hold on. Yeah, Charles Manson and murder, both 83. Again, the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. The Charles Manson story begins in the year 67. Another number connected to killing. The word killer itself is 67. But there was something about his death. He died right after turning 83 years old. Yeah, he had turned 83 1 week. Yeah, he died 1 week after turning 83. So, wow. And he's from Cincinnati, where the Jesuit University Xavier is, and Xavier is another 83. So, makes you wonder about that.
Yeah, the double sin. Wow. I had no idea. I can't believe I missed that. So, and then what's her name? Van Houten?
Yeah.
The gal that was locked up, she got paroled? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And that was yesterday's news. And yesterday, July 11th, is the... Yeah, I'm going to have to do more research, actually. You know, my first thought really about that happening on July 11th is 117, big number with the Central Intelligence Agency. And, again, they run so many of the mind control programs in this nation, and Charles Manson is one of those names that's on the consciousness of almost every American, especially those who grew up at that time. But, yeah, I got to look more into her story. I didn't dig into that much because I was out in Seattle all day yesterday, so.
And it was, she died, or she got paroled on 7/11. Now, didn't Zombo pointed out that the Jews started that 7-Eleven corporation, and their food brand is Go Yum?
Yeah, I always talk about the old Go Yum food brand, indeed, yeah. So.
Oh my God, it's incredible. Anyway,
you know what I noticed right away? Or actually, hold on. No, it's slightly off. It's 1 day off. Today's the 193rd day of the year. Helter Skelter's 193, and a leap year, July 11th, 193rd day. I got to do more research on it. I'm sure there's a lot more to it.
Well, hopefully next week you can enlighten us.
Sure, I'll do it before then.
Maybe they did that because they knew we'd be talking about it today.
Yeah. I'll figure out more of what's going on here with this. So.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking my call for calling back in. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, you have a good night.
All right. You too.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right, we got one last caller. Caller, just so you know, Kansas, you're gonna take us out tonight. We only got a minute before the music starts, so what do we got to close us out, Kansas?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so you can open up the Gematria calculator just to give you some codes real quick.
I just go real quick because we're almost out of show.
and-
Just hit us with what you got.
Yeah, so I want you to think about the pirates, what they used to do back in the day, going in a ship from land to land, you know? So write down the word pirates.
Okay.
And on the base ciphers. So you see the 4 base ciphers, right? And write down the word Corju.
What word?
Corju. It matches 3 out of the 4 ciphers. It matches the same number.
I gotta look up that one. Maritime law, though. I see where you're going. We'll be right back next Wednesday, True Seeker. I don't know if that's right back, but we'll be back then. Until next time. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay, I'm sure we'll have a DK Stonewood sighting here in moments. I should have closed the door. I had the door open. Sweet lady went to bed early because she's been on a messed up schedule for the last week. She's been trying to help her family in Thailand, and she's having to get up in the middle of the night and do these phone calls because they're on a totally different time schedule over there. And anyway, I know she already went to bed, so hopefully I'm not waking her up. But all right, standing by for the DK Stonewood call. Jeff Young's Down Under, Kings of Thrash in Australia, and they just got some more concerts booked for anybody who wants to visit Jeff Young when he's back in the States. Kings of Thrash, December 14th and 15th in Long Beach and at the Whiskey. So, for California people, want to see Jeff Young? He always likes it when the Truth Seekers come out. Thanks for the thought, Gematria32. I appreciate that. But yeah. Okay. While we stand by for DK, let me say thank you to everyone who supported tonight. We raised $123. Jaybird just chipped in $2 2 times. Mr. Tack Pans donated twice tonight as well. Some Canadian. He says, Para is same pair of dice, paradise, 2 cube house. F chipped in 5 and said, the Lord Jesus Christ is alive and well and knows and cares. Okay, thank you. Brianna chipped in $1. Thank you very much, Brianna. Nick had that very interesting, huge super chat of $50 that brought us to 111 for the night, saying it's time to go back to New York. As we know, the land of 111, so I don't think he meant to play it that way, but amazing the synchronicity there. Haroon chipped in $2. Thank you, Haroon. Edward chipped in $2. Thank you, Edward. Cuts1 chipped in a big 10. Thank you, Cuts. You didn't have to do that again. John Mendoza said, this work, your work, is going to break through even better and louder than before. Thank you, Zach, for your dedication. I'm thinking whenever I get this 3rd book done, maybe it'll be the charm. 13 Serpents with another $5. Thank you for the continued generosity. Eloy Garcia with another $1. Thank you again, Eloy. Mr. Tack Pans with a complicated decode about the measurements of the moon. Appreciate the information and the generosity. And then Daria again, Daria, who's always so generous, said, great work in Seattle and shout out to the Truth Seekers. I still can't believe the speaker didn't work. It kills me. But we made the best of the day anyhow. And thank you to 4 people ended up coming out yesterday. Thank you to all 4 of them, 3 ladies, and of course Austin. Shout out to Miss Vanessa and the 2 friends from the east side. And then Nathan, who donated again. Thank you, Nathan, for the $2. Very appreciating. Logan Thomas was testing to see if the donations would work tonight. He got it started with $10. Mike Rawson also became a member, pledging $1 a month. Appreciate that, Mike. So yeah, those were the super chatters tonight. And DK must be occupied tonight, which is just fine. So maybe we do not have a DK Stonewood sighting tonight, and that's just fine. I feel like crashing myself because I got in late last night and I got up extra early with Sweet Lady who was on the phone with her family. So we'll leave it there. We'll wrap it up. We'll let the people on the East Coast get to bed right at about midnight. And yeah, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Oh. Thank you, Rest in Gematria. I see you. Or hold on. Here's D. Right as I'm about to wrap it up. Here's DK. All right, sorry, East Coast people. You might have to stay up longer. What's up, DK?
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, how you doing?
Is it hot up there as well, like it is here?
Today was a little bit cooler actually. So I mean, it wasn't cool. It's warm, but I think it was like in the mid 80s today.
Oh, you don't consider that warm?
Well, it's summertime. I mean, it's pretty normal.
I was gonna say we're in the 70s. I consider that warm in this in the global cooling phase that we're at. Of course, whatever they say, we're doing the opposite.
Sure.
But I was hoping it would even break 80 this summer. So we'll see. Hasn't been 80 yet here.
Yeah.
I honestly don't feel like there's been a normal summers for like probably 10 years at least. I haven't felt like there hasn't been that 1 week or two period where it's like 90 to 100 degrees, night and day where you just, unless you've got AC, you can't sleep. You're just tossing and turning. But it hasn't been like that in at least, I would say, 10 years from the weather modification. And then they claim it's, we're in global warming. Yet in sunny SoCal, it's cooling down somehow, oddly enough. I got a special guest today. It's not Jeff Young, but I'm going to talk first because it's another person who could talk, so I may not even get to say anything because I got a little bit of a time limit. I got to make it to the grocery store. So I'll let him come in after. I just got a couple things to mention about yesterday's Seattle trip and then some of the just random current events. Might as well start with yesterday. So what exactly happened? Your speaker was fully charged, then all of a sudden it had no charge, and then as soon as you went to charge it again, it started charging and it worked again. Is that what happened?
Well, when I got back home, I plugged it in and just the lights came back on, and I let it charge for about 5 minutes, and then just tried it out, and it worked just fine. And I can't make sense of it. So.
Well, so it looks like little electromagnetic hit on your house. That's what made your the fire alarm go off. But just how you could drain charge out of a battery with a magnet. You know that, right? Just like how if you run a magnet over a credit card, it could nullify the credit card. Like the strip won't work anymore. So. Very possibly they just hit you with some type of technology, hit your house, or whether they could just do it through the power lines, which is most likely. I doubt they actually have to, fly a drone over your house and, do it like, enemy of the state style. They could probably just do it through the power lines through your, if you go on your board, it's probably in your garage, your panel for your house, you got all these different circuits. So that circuit where your thing was charging and where the fire alarm probably on the same circuit, which is usually they'll put all the fire alarms on one circuit like in new construction, but who knows? I know your house is like new construction, but who knows if they it could be just by room where everything's like on the same circuit per room or whatever. So yeah, that's what I think happened. And then so you get there and you said somebody else had the same exact speaker as you?
Yeah, they did.
Who was that? Was that the Christian evangelizer guys?
It was. And what's hilarious is I didn't realize what was on their sign when they let me speak. Right behind me was the big sign with the flames. It's like, ask me why you're all going to burn in hell. I was like, oh God, when I was speaking, people probably thought I was with that group, but
yeah,
anyway.
That's what I was going to get to. I think those were definitely plants. The guy that was talking on the speaker, I don't know if that was if that was your first time out on the streets evangelizing, he had absolutely no effing idea what the F he was talking about. I don't know if you were talking to other people, so you weren't paying attention, but I was just trying to listen to what he's saying. It was just like a hour and a half long filibuster from a guy who doesn't know nothing about Christianity. It was so obvious there. I don't know why they were not. Who had the camera? Austin had the camera. He didn't show them on camera at all, so I didn't know. I was like, these guys got to be some young fake Jewish kids, man. I was picturing what they look like, and without being able to see them. But to me, they were such obvious, plants, or they would be like sons of agents or something like that, from these families. But once again, they never will show up when I'm there. Please show up when I'm there, you fucking fake Jews. Please, one of you fucking clowns show up when I'm there. I would love it. But yeah, they know somebody. I mean, not only the fact that pointing out that they're paid for shills, they show up with the exact speaker that you have when yours has just been rendered null or whatever by whatever technology they used to do that. And no, that's not the organic code or the universe working right there for sure. That was something totally deliberate. I mean, they burned out 3 of my laptops already, so I already know. After they burned out 2, I stopped. I was using my neighbor's, internet instead of mine, so they couldn't send whatever they were sending a ping through the line through my internet signal or something, and just burning out, one desktop and 2 laptops. So on the third one, when they did it, I was using my neighbor's, so somehow they got through they're not breaking into my house and, breaking my, smashing my computer with the hammer. They're sending something through the internet, that, and I don't open bogus emails or anything like that. They just send something through the line, and it just, I take it back to Apple. They're like, it needs a whole new brain. I'm like, what? For what? Why would it just do that? They're like, I have no idea, So basically, you need to buy a whole new computer out of nowhere from a perfectly, operational laptop. But yeah, the one guy was just I think they were just sent there to drown you out as a backup if your speaker did work. If you had somehow, you wish you would have got that second one now, I bet. Yeah, I think, and then the other guy that was just asking you questions that either you didn't care about or you weren't necessarily prepared to answer. Okay, so yeah, if everything you're saying is true, so what's the bigger point? I don't understand what's the message? What are you trying to accomplish or whatever? Where, it's pretty simple. You're just trying to wake people up to the illusion of everything. This is just one little aspect of it, the sports. But if I can get them to wake up to the sports, then they're going to wake up to the voting, the whole political system, the monetary system, and it'll just be like snowball effect. So that's why we're doing this here, And of course, those guys know nothing about the Bible or actual Christianity. It's somebody who knows the religions, like the back of my hand, backwards and forwards, and all the ancient scrolls and tablets and scripts that they all came from, they wouldn't dare try to push any or try to say any of that liquid diarrhea in front of me, because I would just verbally undress them so bad. They'd just be sitting there like a guy that's on a toilet and never, the whole class, they open the door and the whole class is watching you take a shit or something, So, yeah, please come out when I'm there, guys. Please. Don't be such chicken shits. It might be fun. And then, and this is why I always tell people to, follow my work. I don't sell anything. I don't ask anybody for any support or anything, any money or anything. It's all free. But if you don't want to be a fucking moron and fooled by every, controlled opposition and everything that they come out with, every couple months, you want to follow my work. Between me and Zach, we get it all. Zach's coming from one side, I'm coming from the other. But I already exposed the Sound of Freedom. I don't know how many weeks it's already been, and all this crap, and controlled opposition, Jim Caviezel, and it's just from the circus clown box of Venom in the Water. What's that guy, Brian Rose, with that show? This is all from the same grab bag of dingleberries that they've collected from dried up shits from so many years that they're just throwing out of the bag. So, yeah, another, and then you had that shill caller call in and say, oh, yeah, you should check out The Sound of Freedom. I'm surprised we didn't get the shill, the token shill call. Oh, you should check out Jason Bashir's and the fucking Archaics and, whatever. What happened, you guys? It's a little too warm for you? Are you guys on hiatus or what? We missed the shill calls for that this week. What else? I had something to say that was actually viable for the current events, and now that's the one thing that I forgot. Anyway, I'll let the special guest talk. Let him start talking because may never finish. Go for it, my buddy.
Hello, everyone. I can just pronounce my voice who I am. So those who don't know, I'm D26. I'm from Mumbai. And DK, you were mentioning about the new movie Sounds of Freedom. What about it? I didn't hear you properly. I was working, so. Can you just repeat it 2 minutes?
What you were saying about it? How's the audio, Zach? Is that good?
Is it D26?
Uh-huh.
If it's just going to be him the rest of the way, he should just call me directly. It'll sound a lot more clear.
I don't know if he can. Can you call Zach directly?
Yeah, he can. He calls me all the time.
Yeah, you can call him directly, no issue, but I guess then it won't be a conference call, I would say.
Oh yeah, he said he can't do a conference call. That's what it was. Never mind, sorry. Let me put this closer. Go ahead and talk, D26. Let's see if it gets any better. If not, we'll do what Zach said.
Is it okay, Zach? Is this voice clear?
I can hear you. Let me see what the chat's saying. It sounds better than it did a second ago.
Okay.
How does he sound right now, you guys? It sounded muffled at first, but now how is it? It sounds better on my end. Does it sound all right to you guys?
Yeah, it's mainly the chat, I would say. It's because we're traveling. I guess my voice is traveling from one device to another device into the third device, and then from the third device from Zach's.
They say it sounds better now. We got one person says sounds good. Charm one says she can barely hear. No, most of them are saying sounds good. The good enough, sounds good, passable. You're good enough. All right, go ahead, D26.
Okay, so regarding what you're saying about the movie, DK, can you say that in brief?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom, another one from the grab bag, that Venom in the Water and all the Brian Rose shit and all these, fake controlled opposition show movies that have been coming out lately. It's from the same grab bag. No, but there's not white hats. I call them ass hats, working behind the scenes to save children and free the people in these bases and underground bases and all this stuff. That's all just absolute retardedness. Like, right, the cabal is telling on themselves, and they're going to arrest themselves, and they're going to release everything that all the children and all that stuff that they have in the trap. That's what they're going to do. They're just going to come clean and do it all themselves. No need for you to do anything. Stay on the couch, keep watching your regularly scheduled programming. It's all going to be fine.
Right? It's kind of interesting you brought this movie because just a few days before I was talking to Zach about this. How true do you think this movie? Because Zach did not hear about this movie. So what's interesting is that this movie was released on 4th of July, and the production company that has created this movie, it's called Angel Studios, and Angel Studios equals 74, and it was released on 7/4. And the guy who plays the movie is created by a CIA operative.
Yeah.
His name is Tim Battle, I guess. And the guy who plays the CIA agent is Jim Caviezel. He's the guy who played Jesus, and Jesus equals 74. So I probably had my doubts when I saw this movie. At least when I saw this movie being coming out. And I feel it is deliberate that this movie has not got any screens in cinema theaters in the US. So they are probably going to stage this as an act of suppression of the cabal. Because again, you can fairly say that it is control that position.
Yeah, I was thinking this is the next thing your mom's gonna be linking. Thank God she blocked me, so she won't be linking it to me. Thank God.
She blocked you?
Yeah, she blocked me. I guess I said the exact right things that just frustrated her too much. Nobody else has been so lucky. Jeff Young's tactic is every time she sends a link, he sends her back a link to one of your shows. I'm like, that's a great tactic. I just told her, please don't send me any more stuff. You're not smart enough to send anything to me right now that would be worth my while. If you want to learn from me, you can. Just keep following my work, and at some point you'll be smart enough to be able to chime in. But right now, you're not at that point. Everything that comes from you will be out of the peanut gallery. You're just embarrassing yourself without knowing it. So, do yourself a favor and just put it on put the links and all that stuff in timeout for maybe a couple of years. Do follow the work, and then you'll catch on, and then you could start your own trail of people that you're linking stuff to. But your mom's tactic of walking into a martial arts studio, never even seeing anything or practicing any martial arts in your life, and then you walk in on the first day and the first minute, the master or the sensei or the leader of the dojo, and then you tell him, let me show you some moves. You know what I mean? Like, the tactic just doesn't work. You're not going to learn anything. People aren't going to be wanting necessarily to teach you anything. You already know everything. What the hell what are you coming here for if you already know anything? Just go out on the street and get your ass beat. So anyway, go on, D26, sorry.
Yeah, that was my take when it comes to the movie. And regarding anything recent, I've probably talked to either of them, so it's probably been a direct criticism for DK and mainly for Zach, because I was talking recently to Zach 2 days ago. So there has been a lot of developments in the South China Sea regarding the World War III prediction, and I used to often call this as World War C in school, because World War where China will be an important, or probably China will be the aggressor in most ways, and C is the third letter, so it also goes with the World War III prediction. So my prediction was basically that we had the recent Titan submarine destruction, or basically the submarine sank recently, or imploded, whatever you want to call it. So that was 111 years after the original Titanic ship sank in the Atlantic Ocean. And that was in 1912. A year after that, in 1913, we had the creation of the Federal Reserve System, the FRS. And those who don't know how the FRS was created, I would highly recommend to watch the video on my channel by the guy, I forgot the name of the author who wrote the book, The Creature from the Jekyll Island. Or if you want to...
G. Edward Griffin. G. Edward Griffin.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Griffin, yeah. Griffin, I forgot this name. So, it's a good video. On my channel, you can find that video. If not, I would highly suggest to read the book, because I did find a PDF on the website, on the internet. Again, not everyone can read a book, so I would better go just watch the video. Yeah, that's the thing, to be honest. Not most people can read.
Not everybody can read a book. That's just so sad to hear, but it's so true.
Yeah, it's even sad when I'm writing a book at 21.
And it may even be true about me. Go ahead.
So that's there. And so again, getting to the point. So 1912, we have the sinking of the Atlantic and the sinking of the Titanic in the Atlantic Ocean. A year after that, in the 1913, we have the creation of the FRS, very secretively. It is interesting how the entire thing was phased and how it was created, and it was brought in the legal system or it was brought in the legislative system of the American, basically the American Constitution, American laws, how the FRS was allowed to even exist. So, and after a year after that, I would not even say a year, probably how much it was, 6 or 7 months after the creation of the FRS, what did we have in June or July of 1914? We had the First World War. Very much interesting. I'll come to the First World War's immediate cause with the assassination of the
Ferdinand.
What is his name? Ferdinand. Francis Ferdinand. So we have a series of events. 1912, Titanic sinks. 1913, FRS is created. And 1914, the First World War. And now, just if we just see 111 years after that, the Titanic, the Titan submarine or the submersible sinks or explodes in 2023. So next year, 2024, also it's the election year. There are elections in 3 major countries: India, US, and Taiwan. Taiwan has been saying that there is no doubt that China is going to meddle with their elections. And again, 3 major elections, and whenever there is an election year, there's always a bad thing, either in that year or the year followed by that election year. So 2024, 25, not going to be good years. Not in terms of, I'm saying, it's going to be apocalyptic, like a meteor is going to strike. Even that is possible, but I would just say, think in terms of socio-economic causes. So 2024, I'm projecting something like Cyber Polygon, because, again, the timeline of the Titan, Titan being exploding this year. Next year, probably something economic collapse, or more banks being shut down. And the year after that, 2025, would be 111 years after the First World War. And that could be the year which sets, or which even, I would say, sets the ground for the Third World War. Reason being, I would say, one of the reasons is that it's whenever there is like a repetitive number, take the best example I would say in the recent times was 9/11. Zach writes in his book about all the repetitive digit numbers with the 9/11 ritual, with the 110 meters tall, 110 floors tall twin towers, which look like an 11, which were demolished on the 11th day of the 9th month, which look like a big 11 in the 11th state. So, and again, talking about that, just to corroborate that point about the economic collapse, if you write, hold on, let me just get to the point. I guess bank collapse equals 111, like the 111 years after the FRS was created, and that was in December 1930. So, and this is our prediction. I'm not sure how much it is going to happen, but just to say, on September the 3rd or March the 9th, 39 or 93, bank collapse equals 39. And in 2024, it is coming with a date gematria of 56. And we know that March is going to be an important date when it comes to banks. We recently had the 2 banks shutting down in the first quarter of the 2023 year. And to get to that point with the immediate cause of the First World War, the assassination of the Archduke Francis Ferdinand, what is interesting is that I was talking to Zach about this, and I'm not sure how many people probably noticed this, but if you look at the assassination of Francis Ferdinand and the assassination of JFK, they are very similar. Both of these people were kind of like the heads of state of that time. JFK was the president, and Archduke Francis was the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary.
That psyop was ran in Croatia, right?
I'm not sure. Was it Croatia?
I think they ran that psyop in my country, yeah. Can you pull that up? Can you pull that up, Zach?
What do you want me to pull up?
The assassin of Archduke Francis Ferdinand was in Croatia, right, with the license plate of the ending of the war?
I'm not sure what. I thought it was Austria.
I'm pretty sure it was in Croatia. Look it up real quick.
Oh, it says Sarajevo.
Well,
He's from Austria.
Bosnia is really Croatia. That was separated before through some political shit, but all the Bosnians consider themselves Croatian if you go there.
I
know,
see.
And they speak the same dialect as us. Like Serbian, you could tell right away if somebody said 2 words out of their mouth, I could tell that it's Serbian because it's a totally different dialect.
What's with him and Hitler both being from Austria and both being blamed for the world wars in a way?
Exactly. And you know who's in Austria? The fake Jews.
Yeah, sure. Ashkenazis.
Did you know that they got enough tunnel systems in Austria for all the people to live in underground bases and tunnels? There's like 31,000 miles or something like that. Look it up on YouTube. There's tons of videos about it. But all of Austria's population, like triple that, can fit in their underground bunker system. And some people own these bunkers as like homes, like rich people, like it's their house. And it's well known over there, all because it's all mountains, of course, in the Alps. And that they had a couple Winter Olympics there already. I think Zach in Sarajevo. I think they've had. I know they had 1, but maybe even 2. So, and this is a small place, like really small, for them to be holding any kind of world events like Olympics there is just like crazy, like how the fuck, because, people like in Croatia, they're like, it's going to be in Sarajevo? How the hell did they get the bid for that? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's literally like a village. So, but anyway, since you just mentioned the Federal Reserve and the creature from Jekyll Island and all that, I know maybe a couple shows ago or whenever it was, me and Zach were talking, and I was like, do I really think they killed 3 super rich fake Jews who were coming here to save, the world and Americans from the creation of the Federal Reserve? No, obviously not. And then I forgot to mention that, it was Guggenheim, Strauss, and Astor. The second chief of the Federal Reserve after Warburg was a Strauss. I forgot his first. It's like Abraham Strauss or something. Somebody related to Isidore. So it's like, get the fuck out of here. So one of the guys is coming here to stop it, but then, the second chairman of the Federal Reserve is from his family. Like, and if you want to go a step beyond that, do I think that was the Titanic down there at the bottom that, this, Titan submarine was going to see, or that any of these, quote unquote, wreck hunters have been gone to see? Do I think that's the Titanic down there at the bottom? No. Do I think it's the Olympic? No. Do I think it's the Britannic? No. Do I think it's just some part of some ship they threw down there? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Do I think they really sank the Titanic and killed whatever 1,700 people on there, including those 3 guys? No. You could pull up the newspaper articles from back in those days, Zach, where it says, thankfully everybody got off the Titanic. Everybody survived. There's newspaper articles from back there about that, just like there's newspaper articles like New World Order pledge to Jews. So like, why was that in the papers that everybody got off and everything was fine? So I think the whole thing was a complete, like, psyop, like the Gulf of Tonkin. Like there was no, like Morpheus says, there is no spoon. It's just they just created the whole thing, from scratch. They didn't even sink like a Lusitania or anything like that, or that could even be a psyop where there's nothing even that really happens, And I think a lot of them are like that. And all these people that they sacrifice and kill, I don't think anything really happens there either. So I think it's like we're looking at the same script over and over and over and over and over again, and all these things that have been like given to us on a silver platter, like the quote unquote truth community, like, oh, JFK was fighting the Federal Reserve and he got killed, and these other guys were 3 super rich guys were fighting the Federal Reserve and they got killed, and like, you know what I'm saying? I think those are all stories for us.
Sure.
But that's psyop level B, and you got to really be clued in to realize that that's a psyop too. You know what I mean? They'll get everybody will realize psyop A, but who's going to realize psyop B and psyop C? And I consider these things like Sound of Freedom and Venom in the Water. That's like PSYOP A minus. You know, that's not even good enough to qualify as PSYOP B. You know. So anyway, go on. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. Go on, D26. Oh, you know what? Before you do, can you go back when you said you don't think it's World War III, but you think it's World War C like Charlie? Is that what you mean?
Like China.
Oh, C like China. Okay. All right. Go on.
And also C is the third letter, so it's
right.
with birthplace.
I get it.
So, getting to that similarities between the assassination of JFK and assassination of Archduke Francis Ferdinand. Both of these people were heads of state of their own time and their own geography. Both of these people were killed by gunmen. Both of these people were riding a black convertible. Both of these individuals were shot in the head. Both of these people were were driving through a parade of people, of the supporters. And both of these people, at least the official, let's go with the official killer of the Archduke Francis Ferdinand. He was a separatist. He was a extremist of a group called the Union of Death, or the Black Hand. And if you go with the unconventional or the non-official account of JFK's assassination, that it is rumored, and it is also kind of an open secret, that the George H.W. Bush was present at the time of JFK's assassination. If you go with that theory, it is very evident. It is very believable, I would say, that it was the Brotherhood of Death. It was the Skull and Bones, the Bonesmen that killed JFK in Dallas, Texas. And if that theory goes well, it is also interesting because the Skull and Bones is also called as the Brotherhood of Death. The group that killed Archduke Francis Ferdinand is called as the Union of Death. And if you look at their logos, they are very similar. The Union of Death, as in the one who killed the Archduke Francis Ferdinand, has a logo that is very similar to the Skull and Bones. It has a skull and a crossbones. Go look it up. In case, and Zach, we discussed this thing. You can show this photo of the logo of Union Death.
The Skull and Bones logo?
Last week.
Or the Black Hand logo?
Yeah, the Black Hand logo.
Yeah.
The similarity between the Black Hand logo and the Skull and Bones logo.
Let me get it up here.
DK, did you know about this? Let me see. Similarities between JFK's assassination and Archduke Francis Ferdinand.
I mean, I didn't think of it, but right when you said it, intuitionally, right away, I knew you were right on the money with it without even going any further. I was like, oh, I guarantee it was the same script, and now you're going to tell us a bunch of similarities, and that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, I think, just intuitionally right away, you're right on the money with this. I've sent Zach pictures of, from a different angle of the JFK assassination. I told Zach, do I think they really killed JFK? No, I don't. Not at all.
I agree. This might be a place where we're different with that, because
you got 5 minutes more for the conference call, just to let you know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Before I got.
So even I got to leave in 5 minutes, because in 10 minutes I got to leave.
Yeah, we figured he's got to go to class and I got to go to the store at the exact same time. So I'm like, we'll be forced to cut it off. Zach's gonna be safe tonight because there's a time limit.
That's unusual. So yeah, one thing I would say, if most people don't know who was Bill Cooper or Milton William Cooper, he was probably one of the OG conspiracy theorists back in the 90s. So I didn't agree with everything or I believe everything he said, but there was one thing that he said has kind of stuck with me, and kind of, again, a lot of people on the internet have their say on this topic, is that who really killed JFK at that day? Because everyone saw that his brain kind of blew out. So, I know what's interesting is that even during the autopsy, his brain kind of like went missing. Did you know that?
Yeah.
The skull, not the skull, but the brain inside his brain, that was missing during his autopsy.
That's because it was a wax dummy for Madame Tussauds without a brain. That's why that happened. But go ahead. Go ahead.
So
Zach, if you still have that picture that I sent you, where it's from the other angle, where it looks like a wax dummy's falling over, if you could put that up.
Oh, of JFK?
Yeah. You still have that picture? That was on my other phone. So, I mean, I've already gone through so many photos and stuff that I have on old phones and old computers that if you know, unless I can re-find them, hopefully people that I sent them to save them.
I gotta figure out where I put that image at.
I'm sure you probably saved it because you showed it like the following day, and did like part of your like monologue. You showed it. You're like, I just want to show this picture that nobody's probably ever seen before. It's food for thought. It makes you think like what really happened.
Yeah, I have to go back and find it. I'm not sure where it is right now, but it's got to be here. So.
Go on, D26. Still got like 4 minutes. Giving you the floor.
So yeah, that was my take when it comes to the. I can't think of anything else when it comes to JFK assassination, other than this guy. They claim that Bill Cooper.
Well, hey, the one thing is, again, Black Hand equals 187, like Society of Jesus, like Brotherhood of Death, like how, again, JFK assassination's 187, and it happened in the 187th year of the nation's existence. So that's the number parallel.
And that's the same number with Archduke Francis Ferdinand?
Well, because Black Hand's the assassin group, and their name is 187.
Oh, gotcha. And it's 187 too, right? The same code for murder.
Indeed.
And I didn't know, so that's only in California? The 187 is only like the code for murder in California? Is that
It's
true?
in other states as well, but it's definitely the code in California.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that until somebody said that the other day. Oh, really? It's different in other states? Okay, I thought it was kind of known. Like, you know, they play a Snoop song all over the world, and people's, 187 on a cop, everybody knows it means to kill someone. So, okay. Interesting. Why do you think it's 187? Why did they use that number?
I don't know. It has biblical significance. 187 chapters in the Torah. Abrahamics 187. Thou shalt not kill. I don't know. Something like that.
Okay. Be like Mark Passio. Zach, your response to what D26 just said?
Which part?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I before leaving, I would just say, looking at the driver that was driving the car motorcade of JFK, it is a lot of people believe that it was the driver that really shot the gun, and that is why the head kind of popped to the back side and not to the front.
Yeah.
So I've not looked into the name of that. I forgot the name because I knew the name, but I forgot the name. But I haven't looked into the numbers of that guy, and that was given like a clean slate, and he never came back. It is also interesting. One more thing when it comes to these drivers, these like mysterious drivers that come out of nowhere. The guy who was driving the car of Princess Diana is also the same guy who is the head of international security of AstraZeneca. Like a very random fact, I'm just giving it out.
Sure.
Because it is also interesting because the guy who was driving the Princess Diana's car, he was the only one who survived the crash. And apparently, allegedly, I would say, he had a memory loss about what happened. He didn't know what happened. And now he's become the chief of international security of AstraZeneca. And I'll talk about AstraZeneca. If you just break down those words, Astra means, it's pronounced as Astra in Sanskrit. It means supernatural weapon. Ze means that in Polish. And Nika or Niker in Latin is to kill. So it is basically, if you jumble up the words and in different languages, it means supernatural weapon that kills. reflection. I just like it came up in my mind. So yeah, that's it. Anything else that the chat has to ask for me? Because I gotta leave in like 5 minutes.
It's okay, because you're coming on Friday. Friday, D26 will be back. We'll do a stream. It's going to start at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 Eastern. Late at night where D26 is. But, yeah, it's only 2 days from now.
Also let them know that we chose that date because it is 201 days after Christmas.
Oh, is that why we chose that day? I didn't realize that.
We did talk about that. In case you remember last month, I would say that it comes Bastille's Day, which is where the Jesuit order was created in France. So their Independence Day, which is also called as La 14 Juillet, it is 201 days after Christmas.
Okay. Well, all right. Bastille Day, 201 days after Christmas. Okay.
Yeah. So anything the chat wants to know about, like they want me to talk about on the live stream, let me know in the comments, I would say. I'll read the comments probably tonight.
The music is going to come on in 5 seconds, D26. I'm going to be walking out. I'll still be on the call with Zach, but I'm going to have to leave this. Actually, no, I could do both, maybe. No,
well, we can wrap it up there because I'm ready to pass out anyway. I'm exhausted, so.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Because even I can continue the call if I want, but the problem is you will hear all the announcements on the metro station. So I don't want you guys to hear that.
You're going to hear all the rickshaws beeping in the background.
Not the rickshaws. This time it will only be the announcements. I'm traveling from the new metro that is created in Mumbai.
Oh.
That I would say quiet, but I would say again, it's all repetitive announcements of the station and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, I gotta leave, but again to the chat, if anything or any topic or any specific thing that they want to know about me, I would say, except my name, or they want me to talk about some topic, let me know in the comments. I will read those comments later, and that's it. Have a good night to both of you, and thanks for having me here. Thank you, DK, for calling me, and probably see you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, D26.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Have a good day. Take care.
Anything else, Zach? I'm walking out the door in a second.
No, you can go to the grocery store. We can leave it there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he called me last week, or like the last 2 weeks, and wanted to get on, and he's like, he was calling me on Messenger, but I wasn't even aware it wasn't open. So this week I was like, all right, at the end of the show, I'll get with you on Messenger, and then when I call in the show, you'll be in the background. So this week he got his turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say a couple more things about Seattle, but it doesn't matter. We'll just talk next time.
All right. Yeah, there'll be a next time.
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Okay. Good night.
Yeah. Take care. Yeah. For the person in the chat who wants to call in, hey, Friday there'll be a nice long live stream with D26. There might very well be one tomorrow. There was 3 hours tonight to call in, so there will be a next time. But yeah, we'll leave it there for tonight, you guys. I am exhausted. I have not been getting a lot of sleep lately, and last night hardly got any sleep, so I want to get a good night's rest. That's my goal. Hopefully we don't wake up to the fire alarm again. So we'll leave it there for now. Thanks again to everyone who hit the like and the share, and thank you to everyone who supports the work. Shout out to Ocho from the Ocho. And until next time.